Yes. You play a prop paladin, you are labeled as a tank. You play a holy paladin, you are labeled as a healer. And then they balanced the entire game and the skills and everything that that class had into what that spec now has, and it completely changed how the class played. I don't play a paladin anymore in Cataclysm. I play a retribution paladin. And how like I will have certain spells that no longer exist. I will have like it just completely changes how the game works. And why did they do this? Because in their eyes, it is easier to balance. All the DPS can do this. Well, every DPS has a kick. Did everybody have a kick in Cataclysm? But it's almost everyone at least had some sort of an interrupt, had some sort of a damage boost, had some sort, like everybody has a wall now. Everybody has this. Everybody has self-healing. Everybody has, and what they were trying to do is they were trying to hyper balance the game. But the truth is that balance is boring. When you go in and have 100% min-max to a T of balance, you don't have that flavor and you don't have that parity in the game that makes the game good. One thing that we've noticed in Burning Crusade Classic, for example, going back and playing the game 15 years later, is I feel like 3v3 is not nearly as balanced as what people thought it was back then. And I think 5v5 is incredibly balanced. Or mostly balanced. I think 5v5 balance is much better than people remember it being. And I think 3v3 is not as balanced as people remember it being. For example, looking at arenas. So I'm very curious to see how Wrath of the Lich King is going to play out. I kind of went off on a rant here. But my point being with all this is I have 2 points. One is if you start moving away from what an MMORPG is and you start focusing more on you overly focus on balance versus having immersion and RPG elements and stuff in the game, then you're going to hurt it because people are going to find a way to min-max the game to the nth degree regardless. So I think what you need to do is take those RPG elements and stuff and design them and put them in a game in such a way that players can min-max. Because min-maxers, they don't care about the final number. What they care about is being the best. They care about the ranking. They don't care about the number. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you could do all this stuff and you can get a really high number, but they want to be number one. So if you're number one and let's say you do 100 DPS, I'm just using easy numbers, or you're number one and you're doing 2,000 DPS, it's the same thing because at the end of the day, you're that much farther ahead than everything, right? Project Honor sneak peek. This is not a Project Honor sneak peek. This is just my own sort of like, this is my own opinion, okay? This has nothing to do with Notorious Studios, okay? But the way that I see this personally is that you need to put these RPG elements and stuff in the game. Let min-maxers min-max however they want to min-max. Just let them do it, but have the RPG elements and stuff in the game in a way that you almost can't min-max it too hard. So you let them be number one, but you don't let number one be like leagues above everybody else. Like the difference between number one and number like 100 should be there, but it shouldn't be like, oh, like what's the point of even playing if I'm not min-maxing? Typical WoW player thinking of max numbers instead of fun. No, but that's the thing. That is fun for them, for those types of players. So what I'm saying is you have to design the way in a game, or you got to design the game in a way that allows you to basically let you have both. By you can min-max and you can be number one and you can push it as hard as you can, but you don't push it to a point where you're like in a whole nother galaxy. And if you don't try and min-max, then you might as well not play. That is bad. So you got to find the balance. And a lot of that is by putting these RPG elements in the right way in the class design, the race design, all that stuff. Okay, continue.
In the Freljord, people tend to be more pale with lush beards and Nordic tattoos all over their bodies. Shuremans have the classic dreadlock style. People from Bilgewater have the pirate crew tattoos. Piltovans are your fancy mustache people, and Ionians have the wild, untamed hair and beards. So even
almost like a sprinter. That's a good example.
Stats, I do believe these unique character customizations would
Yes, we're playing Madden later today. Madden later today.
So that's what humans would be about. Pretty versatile and nothing too special in an RPG world.
You did the classic event. Nice, so you got them out.
After humans, the second most
race
are the Vastaya. As we mentioned in the last video, the Vastaya are a race that came to be after humans started mating with magical animals. But the thing is, depending on where they are from, there are loads of different kinds of Vastaya. From cat boys to fox girls to lizard girls. In fact, here's a family tree of all the Vastayan tribes, and even this doesn't cover all of them. And this is where Riot can pull off something genius. As I said, this world already has set rules. So it would be very difficult to introduce a brand new race into this universe. However, it is going to be very easy to just make up a new Vastayan tribe. So I propose that Riot doesn't make the Vastaya as a playable race overall, but instead it would be cool if Riot let the specific tribes to be playable races. This would leave the door open for them to introduce new playable races later down the line. If they cross off all the Vastaya at once, they kinda shoot themselves in the foot. But I know, here I go mumbling about how the world works again. So let's have a look at some of the specific tribes. When I say Vastaya, most people think of Ari. She comes from the Vasani that look like foxes. Although her tribe is mostly gone, the lore can justify new members to be found, so they can be playable. The Kilash tribe comes from the jungles between Shurima and Ishtal. These lion-like people are known for hunting dangerous beasts, and they take great pride in trophy collecting. It's the average mount collector. The Shimon tribe are monkey-like people from Ionia. While their older members are very wise, their younger members can be very goofy. The Otrani come from Mount Targon, resembling the classic goat people.
If you had the same passion for politics, you'd be president. Thanks, Noah.
The Lowland tribe are Ionians who resemble bird people. This tribe likes to combine the art of dancing with lethal assassinations. The Uvikat are something close to lizards, though they do have the ability to shapeshift. Out of all of the other tribes, these are the closest to their pure blood ancestors. Now, these were the more pure blood tribes, but there are many more Vastaya who
parody is
don't
entertaining,
fit any
exactly.
of these. For example, Set has an Ionian Vastayan mother and a Noxian human father, so he doesn't really have a tribe. Long story short,
Moves in stereo, thank you for the 21 months. Thank you, Moves in stereo. I didn't hear that earlier.
Riot can use them in a million different ways. This is where they can really go wild. But that's it for the Vastaya. So now, let's have a look at the third most popular race, the Yordles. These are the classic RPG tiny people. In League of Legends, people either adore them or hate them. There is no
Didn't think this up earlier? No, you did 10 months earlier, didn't you, Nicholas?
But not those
I think you missed
guys.
it.
Everyone hates
I
them.
think you missed me.
There is no doubt in my mind that Yordles will be playable, even though they have an interesting catch. You see, unlike all the other races on Runeterra, Yordles are immortal. They are essentially modes of magic that come from a hidden magical realm known as Bandle City. And because they are made of magical essence, when they die, we don't really know what happens. But we assume they return to the Bandle City and there they respawn. With that said, the lore suggests that maybe Yordles can die, but they just can't die of old age. But let's ignore that, that's a massive rabbit hole. So, you know, when it comes to gameplay, at least corpse running is going to make sense for them. Now, because Yordles
I did miss Taint Flicker's 49 months though, and Waka for Wars 1 year. Thank you guys.
And cheerful. Even their home realm is very colorful because of that.
Guys,
but then,
okay, guys, I'm not playing a Yordle. Stop asking me to play a Yordle.
There is also Vex, a Yordle champion who has recently been added into League of Legends, who gives Yordles an interesting perspective. You see, unlike all the other Yordles, Vex hates living. She hates the bright colors and the cheerfulness. You know, it's the average League player. So Vex is constantly in deep depression and agony. All she wishes for is to leave this world, but she can't, because Yordles can't die. Anyway, just like all the other races, Yordles
I can't wait for that.
All around Runeterra.
There is Poppy
in Demacia, Colette in Noxus, Kennen in Ionia, Rumble in Shurima, and so on. But now, so far we have only covered the races which I'm pretty sure will launch with the MMO. The humans, the Vastaya, and the Yordles are the core of this world. So now we are diving into the races that still exist in this universe. But it's going to be up to Riot if they make them playable. First of all, there are the Minotaurs. The Minotaurs are different from the Vastaya because they don't have magical ancestors.
Alistar.
They are just a standalone race. Originally, the Minotaurs controlled the mountains south of Noxus, but because Noxus is Noxus, soon they absorbed the Minotaurs into their empire. With that said, some Minotaurs fled the tyranny of Noxus and they joined the other regions. A great example is Kryl, the Minotaur fighting in the elite armies of Demacia. And yes, the Minotaurs also have the stereotypical sexy female version in this universe, so they can easily be turned into a playable race. Next, in Bilgewater, there is an incredible amount of weird.
I'm really excited to see the
A lot of these could be really cool playable races when Bilgewater.
Oh no, it won't be non-competitive PvP.
Although
Dude, it's
modeling
Riot.
helmets for a hammerhead shark is going to be interesting. We also can't forget about the trolls. Previously, I showed you the ice trolls, but there are also the sand trolls. And here's an interesting fact for League veterans. We have never seen a sand troll, but because of Ezreal's adventures, we know they exist. They should be around Icathia, which
You belong in a
is where
museum.
Jax is from, who also has 3 fingers, by the way. So it is extremely likely
It's
that
only like 10 buttons and you'll just
I
play
didn't know
WoW.
Jax had 3 fingers.
I don't know. It doesn't matter on the number of buttons for me. It's like League has like 4 or 5 buttons and it's super fucking deep. So it doesn't matter on the buttons for me, but it matters just like on the gameplay, like as long as it's smooth. Especially the PvP, you have like good counterplay and stuff. That's what I'm looking
Did you guys know this? So what is Jax? Jax is a sand troll?
for. I think Jax is a troll. It's so cool.
I thought Jax was a human.
Yeah, I think it'll probably
Jax
be
a
free.
Ninja Turtle?
A sand troll.
Yeah, I don't know what
Regardless,
kind of
the majority
cosmetics it'll have.
trolls are united under Trundle, the self-proclaimed Troll King, who is fighting in the service of Lysandra, who is a baddie even though she is morally right. So since the majority of the trolls are
You call her a
enemies,
baddie?
I doubt they will be a playable race. Lastly, let's not forget that this universe also has Yetis. Fun fact, before everything got frozen, the Yeti civilization was very advanced. They even had their own technology based around
She a
magic.
baddie, bruh.
In fact, Willem, the Yeti Nunu is riding
Yeah,
on,
I would
is a
assume
hologram from the Yeti technology.
everything that WoW has
But then, as the
probably,
civilization
if not more.
disappeared, the Yetis went a bit more ferocious. So no, they won't be playable either. But that's pretty much it for the races. As I
Hopefully it'll feel
Can I
better than
come
we
out? I
think.
don't want to scrub the floors anymore. Did you finish scrubbing the cabinets?
mentioned, there aren't too many different kinds. But that's because Riot is avoiding mimicking other RPGs. That's why there are no dwarves or elves here. Runeterra is simply trying to be unique in every way, and so far, it is working. Now, I also have seen some people asking if Darkin will be playable. To which I have to say, that's like asking if you can play as a god. The Darkin are a corrupted version of the Ascended God.
Runeterra is that the MMO's name? No, that's it's like Azeroth.
In fact, the
comparatively.
Darkin known as
It's like the world of
is
Rune
the only being in existence that managed
Legends.
to kill a celestial god.
Called
He
Runeterra.
stabbed someone wielding the power of the aspect of war so hard, the aspect of war died. So no, I don't think Darkin will be playable. Anyway, with all the races covered, assuming Riot is going to use the origin system, this is what the playable races
World of Runeterra.
would
Yeah,
be.
pretty much.
Humans are versatile, they are everywhere.
No one
There is
scrubs
not much to
cabinets?
mention there. When it comes to the Vastaya,
Okay.
the common tribes can easily appear in Noxus, Piltover, and Bilgewater. These are the regions open to everyone. On the other side, the Vastaya are closely linked to spiritual magic, so you will hardly find one in Demacia, since it is a firmly anti-magic
6 year early
region.
speculation.
And somehow, not many Vastaya were ever mentioned in the Freljord, so Riot doesn't have to force them there. But then we have Shurima, Ionia, and Targon. Assuming these would be saved for expansions, they could be used
It's like the
to
Great
introduce
World
new
for the
playable
name.
races. Since I
It will
doubt
be
all
called
the
something like
newcomers
that.
remember the
Yeah.
names, the Kilash, Lothlan, and Otrani are the lion people,
You'll
and
look them
bird
up with some
people,
cool
and
ass
goat
name.
people. When it
For
comes to the
sure.
Yordles, as I mentioned, they can originate from anywhere, but they do avoid the Freljord and Targon because of the harsh climates. And yes, I know there were some prehistoric Yordles in the Freljord, but after it got covered in ice, they disappeared. And lastly, the Minotaurs can be found in Demacia and Noxus. But it does make sense for some of them to flee to the Freljord, and others to travel to Ionia during the invasion. With all of this said, remember, this is just my decently educated opinion, since the races are pretty much mixed up all over Runeterra. Riot could also lift the limitations and let every
You little
race start
bitch.
in every region, and I would be fine with that. Some story would be wonky.
See, I
but
think
it
that's
wouldn't be
weird.
an-
I don't like the idea of just any race being able to start anywhere or like in like a centralized location or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll do that type of stuff.
I think it is generally good for the game and for the especially for the new player experience when you create a character of a certain race that you start in like that race's like hometown. And I want to give two examples here. And I want to also give a counter argument to what I'm saying. So, two examples. One is let's use World of Warcraft. I actually recently made an alt. I made a druid, and I'm leveling a druid. And I like the human starting area. I made a new character, and I've been leveling this druid. The point of what I'm saying is I think it's good to be able to play a game, and you start out and you're like in Darnassus area, you're Teldrassil or whatever, and like it's good. Like this is the environment that I should be in whenever I'm playing. It's good for RP. It spreads players out across the whole world, right? That is something that is important, is spreading players out across the entirety of the world, and kind of instead of putting all the population in at one place at a choke point, they because they're inevitably, again, talking about the min-maxing thing, there is inevitably going to be a situation where there is going to be a best place to level, right? So you guys are saying Darnassus' worst starting area, some of you guys. That's really the counter argument to what I have to say, is there is going to be a place where people feel like is the best place to level. Talking about the Alliance side, some people like the human area, some people like the dwarf and gnome area. So naturally what happens is if you give people the option to do that, they will do that. Like that's how I feel. Because I'm like, I want to make a Night Elf Druid, but I was like, man, I want to go level in Elwyn Forest. But I ended up leveling here. And when you're talking about the for two things, when you're talking about like the population spread, like the geography of the world, and like when you're talking about world design and how you want to put players in, you got this living, breathing world, this MMO. If you put everybody in at one place, now you've got like a choke point. There's too many people doing the same quests. There's too many people in a certain city. There's other parts of the game that aren't being looked at. There's other content that you want people to spread out throughout the entirety of the world, and you want to bleed into each other. And that goes, especially if you have two factions, like let's talk about WoW again. Night Elves are in Teldrassil. They come down into Ashenvale. They've got this whole area here that actually connects to where a lot of the Horde population is, right? Ashenvale connects to, is it the Barrens or Durotar that it connects to? Either way. It comes in and it connects to the Horde area because it's very close to Orgrimmar. So when this area comes in and connects, you have a whole like lore RP. That's where Warsong Gulch occurs, right? That's where Warsong Gulch occurs, the battle of like the orcs and the night elves. It's a whole battleground. You have this cross-faction gameplay that occurs of the Horde players doing world PvP with the Alliance players at that point. So you want to have this spread throughout the whole thing. The counter argument to that is I like the Alliance, I like the human area the most. So I wish that I could start a Night Elf in the human area and just do the human quests. But I know from like looking at the game through the lens of like a design perspective, I know that's bad for the game. And sometimes you just have to look at things that way and be like, yeah, that's bad. And why is it bad for the game, and why do I know this kind of stuff happens, is if you look at Dark Age of Camelot, this is the last example I want to use. If you look at Dark Age of Camelot, what they did eventually in that game is you went from having a like let's say you played Hibernia, the Celts or the Celts or whatever would start in Connacht. Is that right? They would start in like Shannon Estuary, and they were in Connacht, and that was like a whole area that was like very like, you know, Irish Scottish sort of, you know, that was it. That was like cool. I think you would have like the Lurkeens start in Magmel. Is that right? I think the Lurkeens and the Elves started in Magmel. But you would have like, which was like more of like a magical area outside of Tir na Nog. So then you would have all these guys throughout the world come and they'd eventually meet up by doing quests, and the quest would lead you to certain areas to lead you to the capital city of Tir na Nog. You'd see different dungeons and different areas and places in the world that you could go through that, through playing the game that way. Now, what happened eventually is as that game got older and it got more and more optimized, the problem is they said, okay, well, instead of putting people out where they should be based on role play and story, let's put people all in a tutorial area. So then they put everybody in a tutorial. Every new character goes to a tutorial area, and then that tutorial area just spits them out right outside of Magmel, which is right next to the capital city. Because like, oh, we'll just put new character, new whatever, and we'll just put them there. And I think the idea became that maybe there's not a whole lot of new players playing that game. So the only people making new characters are people that already play the game, so they don't want to go through the whole dog and pony show of like getting to the capital city or whatever. But that is something that is really not good for the development of the game. Retail has this now too. Yeah, these are not good. These are not good things. I think WoW definitely shouldn't do it because there's still new people playing. Dark Age of Camelot is like 20 years old, and it is in the old generation of.
Oh look, it's
so
you,
yeah,
Magnus.
That's why I think that it's not good
Magus.
to allow players creating a new character to pick their starting zone, because inevitably there's going to be again, talking about min-max versus RP and finding a balance, the min-maxers will all go to the best starting zone, and it's going to hurt the population spread in the world and just how the world develops and expands. I think that is bad. I think players should whatever their race is, whatever their selection is, end up in a certain area, start in a certain area.
Anything horrible. Although I still believe some racial exclusivity helps the feeling of RPGs. So all of this is still only the first half of the video. If you want to take a break and do your business without washing your hands, now's your chance.
This program will continue in 5 seconds.
Did you wash your hands? Okay, so far we only covered the races, which was definitely still the easy part. The much more difficult part are going to be the classes. This is where Riot is facing a great challenge.
Iron
Partially,
Canaway?
it's because there are inherently no wrong answers when it comes to designing a class system. You can really make anything work if you put some thought into it. But more than that, Riot is challenged by the setting itself. League of Legends currently has over
2025?
160 different
I don't know,
champions.
man. I expect
They
maybe
each
like to
have
hear about
unique
Alpha.
abilities, and together they can define about 40
Maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah, I actually think
This
that's a
year,
big
then.
obstacle.
From-
That right there is a massive obstacle for this game. For
Honestly,
Riot's
probably
MMO,
not. Maybe
dude,
not. Maybe
personally, I
Alpha
find that
next
to be a
summer.
huge obstacle. What classes do you pick? And that's what I talked about earlier whenever I was talking about wizards, right? Like in Dark Age of Camelot, you have the enchanters, you have an eldritch, you have wizards, you have thurgists, you have mentalists, you have shamans, you have like there's just so many different things, right?
And together they can define about 40 different classes. I counted them myself. From these,
Sorcerers,
Riot has
yeah,
to pick
everything.
only a handful to be playable, which means the majority of the classes
Oh
won't
my
be
gosh,
free.
you can't do
And
that.
people who love those classes will be disappointed.
Golly, so
Thankfully, I'm not a designer, so instead of trying to figure out how to make this work,
It's
I'm
a
going to
huge
show
obstacle.
you all the cool, unique classes this universe has. And again, because region pride is a big part of this universe, you'll see that some of these are tied to specific regions. But not the warrior. That one is different in every single region. So let's start with that. The warriors in this universe provide a unique challenge on top of the already difficult decisions. It's because in every region, the fantasy of
Get it,
a
Chad.
warrior is represented by something else. In Demacia, it is the Dauntless Vanguard. These are the classic knights in shiny armor pursuing justice. In Noxus, the traditional warrior would be part of the Trifarian Legion. which is a rank you can achieve after
Animists.
killing your
Yeah,
best
that's right.
sparring friend in combat. These guys rarely use shields. In Shurima, the classic warrior is the warrior of the Golden Army. These are fighting for the glory of the Shuriman Emperor. In Piltover, you would have the enforcers. Simply said, it's the cops. People will know these from Arcane. But in a way, the Wardens are the melee warriors of Piltover. But then, in the Freljord, warriors are represented by the Berserks, either wielding axes or giant blades as they worship the primal god known as the Iron Boar. On Targon, we have the Warriors of Rakor, which are somewhat themed after the classic Spartan armies. Then, in Ionia, the classic warrior is known as a Blade Master, with samurai-styled swords that have a rich history in this region. Also, there are the Vuju Blade Masters, which are on a totally different level. The Vuju technique is so powerful it was forbidden from using it in combat. The TLDR version of the story is that when Noxus invaded Ionia, Master Yi obliterated entire Noxian legions on his own. Before Noxians realized how overpowered he was, and they nuked the town where the Vuju Blade Masters were trained. So now there is no more Vuju Blade Masters.
No, you don't need to go past my
normal
arm.
Blade
You need
Masters.
to go past my arm. Oh my
And
god.
lastly, the common warrior in Bilgewater would be a brawler. You see, I
Who
just
fed you?
named 8 different kinds of warriors. How is Riot going to handle this? I don't know. They could just make one warrior class and then just have the players play out the fantasy while wearing cool armor sets. Or they could make it so that every origin has a different skin of the class. You know, all the abilities would be the same, they would be doing the same numbers. But when a Noxian swings a weapon, there is a bloody trail. And when an Iceborne Berserk swings a weapon, there is a frosty effect. But again, this is for Riot to figure out. Now I'm just going to show you all the unique and interesting classes from this
So how'd you like the Death Knight starting zone, dude?
Demacia!
You enjoy it? That's a pretty cool. I enjoyed it when I did it the first time.
They carry with them a stone disc called the Grey Mark. This is the tool that allows them to absorb magic. So this would be sort of an anti-magic class. There are also a lot of iconic Demacian scouts. Also, Demacia has a lot of stories about theaters and bards. But Demacia also brought spotlight onto the Sentinels. The Sentinels of Light are people dedicated
Where's that
to
bitch-ass
fighting the
demon I was
undead.
fighting?
Because the undead can't really be killed with normal weapons.
Did I
They
get him?
use the relic stones that can be forged into any weapon, be it a crossbow, a gun, a really big gun, or even a sword. Fun fact, in the lore, the Sentinel guns don't have triggers. You have to will it to fire with every fiber of your body. So of course, Lucian canonically fired it with his PP. Lastly, this will be unknown to even veteran League players. But Demacia
What's
puts a
this
really cool
asshole
twist
keeps
onto
coming
the
up and
Paladin
trying to kill me.
class. You see, in League of Legends,
Okay.
when you play as Garen, his ultimate is to smite his enemies
Alright.
with a giant holy blade. This made people wonder, is Garen a mage? In Demacia? Actually, no. In the lore, Garen has never done anything even similar to this. And that's because there is something even cooler happening. Most people in Demacia pray to the aspect of justice, which they call the Winged Protector. That's why Demacia has a lot of angelic statues. Coincidentally, the aspect of justice can also be found in League. Its Gale.
Oh, there
So
you are,
what's
asshole.
happening is that
Welcome
when
back,
Garen is casting
dick.
his ultimate, it is not him magically creating a holy blade in the sky. It is actually the aspect of justice
Look at the fucking
answering his call. So even though this universe
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
really have a paladin class, which would be casting holy spells, this would be a really cool alternative. People who
See, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, is Garen a paladin or a warrior?
That's true,
That's
dude.
exactly what I was
Pretty
talking about.
cool, but now
Pretty cool.
let's move on to Noxus.
Damn, like I'm kind of
I always
excited to hit
consider
60
Garen to
so
be
I
a
can
paladin.
Harvest black powder. So they also have their own mercenaries.
I can play League.
It's just a
functional
Giga
guns.
Chad? True.
In Noxus, you can also find a lot of demonic cultists. So I would expect a warlock or a demon summoner. And they also have a few renowned assassin guilds. And the most unique of
What are you
them
doing,
all,
Sophie? Why are you gonna be
Noxus
right on my
also
hand?
has a circle of
My
hemomagic.
dog's head is literally on
People
my
who follow
hands.
Vladimir,
I'm trying
a
to move around
lord
with
who
right now.
used to be a hostage to the Darkin, and who eventually learned how to use their blood magic. So these people used the very same blood magic that shaped the Darkin. Then in Shurima, we may find
Spare Goose, thank you for the 4
arcane
months.
Fan.
These people follow
Praetorian,
Zera,
thank you for the
most
32
powerful
months.
mage
If Brock,
on
thank you for the 2
Runeterra,
months.
whose
Thank you
body has
guys.
been reduced to nothing but arcane energy. I would honestly love to see this class in-game, because I love the idea of having an Archon form on cooldown. Shurima also has some prophets who can open up tiny portals into the void and summon tiny void creatures. It would be sort of like Warlock in WoW. You know, use the power of the enemy against themselves. Then there are the Sand Shifters, people who can use the sand to create sand mirror images. And we can't forget about the Chronomancers, people who use time magic in a lot of creative, interesting ways. Then in Piltover, riding off of the success of Arcane, people will want to play as a Warden, which is a more elite version of the Enforcers. These would be equipped with sniper rifles and stun grenades. On the crafty side, there are also the Hextech Engineers. These are the people who can use science to allow them to wield magic even if they are not mages. And separate from them, there are also the Artificers. To them, anything from a powerful arm to blade legs should be possible. And down in Zone, I would love to see some kind of an alchemist who's using questionable drugs to help his allies. Next we go into the Freljord. Here we can find the Draklorn Inquisitors, which are Lysandra's followers with abilities themed around true ice. Essentially, these would be frost battle mages. But perhaps the most iconic for the Freljord would be the Shamans. These worship the animalistic primal gods of the Freljord, and
like an
all their
Udyr?
abilities mimic the primal gods, be it a bear, a fox, a mammoth, or a boar. Then on Targon,
Boar.
we would find a lot of people with celestial powers. You know, calling down stars and such. But there are also the Solari who use the power of the sun to enhance their attacks. They also wear massive plated armor, so this would be the tank class. Or the Lunari, who use the power of the moon to stay in the shadows. This would be more of an assassin class. Besides these, there are also a lot of star callers around, and even draconic worshippers. Then in Ionia, besides the Vuju Blade Masters, which would be far too overpowered, some people choose to fight without a blade. These would be the monks of Hirana. They channel the power of Ionian dragons to empower their limbs. And don't worry, they are a bit different from the traditional monks. They are far more badass.
Dude, Lee Sin players are so annoying, dude. Every Lee Sin player thinks they're like a god. When you're playing League of Legends, when Lee Sin is on the opposing team, they're always trying to it's this like crazy like overconfidence, and it's so like annoying and arrogant. They throw their ball and they kick to it and then they jump back for no reason. Like, look how skilled I am. But they're just like pressing 2 buttons, right? But they go, and every time I feel like I'm playing against a Lee Sin, it's just like they're flying over the walls, like boom, ult, kick somebody out from under the tower, boom, gank, whatever, fly back, throw down a totem, or throw down a ward, jump to the ward, whatever. But then whenever I have a Lee Sin on my team, I just feel like the Lee Sin on my team just goes and finds a way to just like launch himself into towers. He's like 2 towers deep into the Nexus. Like, I don't know what it is with Lee Sin players.
True.
It's
I do
one
that
or the
shit.
other. There's never like an okay Lee Sin, ever. They're either like gods or they're just completely throwing the game at every. They're like trying to get themselves killed every single second of the game. It's insane, dude.
Ionia is also home to the Kinku Ninjas. Their goal is to maintain
Yasuo
balance
players
in
are the same,
Ionia.
dude. It's
This
either,
means
like,
that when a
insane
spirit
or just
starts
complete
killing
dog shit.
people, the ninjas go out and deal with the spirit. And
Yasuo
when
is the new
people
Lee
start
Sin.
terrorizing the spirits, the ninjas go out and deal with the people. Most of these are your classic ninjas empowered with spiritual magic. But some are using the forbidden shadow technique. And while they surely look evil, just like anything in League of Legends, it's not really one-sided. These ninjas are simply using questionable techniques to protect their homeland. And honestly, the Shadow Ninjas are so iconic for Ionia, I really do believe they will be playable. Then we get to Bilgewater. Besides all the things that you could do with pirates and monster hunters, the most iconic class of this place are the priests of Buru. The Buru worship the god of motion called Nagakeboros. While they are priests, they fight with full physical strength, while borrowing power from the god to empower themselves. Usually this means the god spawns tentacles to smack the enemies around. But they also have healing powers, so that would be a really cool support class. In Riot's RPG called Ruined King, you can play as Ilaoi, the High Priestess of Nagakeboros.
Dude, I hate
and
Ilaoi.
there you can see all the attacks she
Is
can
it Ilaoi,
perform.
Ilaoi? I
And
hate.
this takes us to the
Dude,
last
laning
place,
against that is so
Ishtal,
obnoxious.
which will most likely be saved for an
Yeah, I get
expansion.
my dick kicked in
As
every
I
time
mentioned
I
in the
play
last
against
video,
Malawi.
Ishtal specializes in only one thing: elemental magic. So if elemental mages become a class, and they should, even in League, elemental dragons are a core mechanic. They would come from Ishtal. But that's it for all the unique classes this universe has to offer.
Dude, I really
Funnily
wanna play
enough, when
League
I was
now,
drafting
frick.
all these classes,
I really wanna play League
realized
now.
a lot of them fall under specific
We're gonna play Madden
categories.
today. We already
So
talked. We already
going
started playing
with the
Madden.
skin idea for all the classes wouldn't be too unreasonable. But developing so many artistic variations of the classes would be taxing. So overall, I believe Riot should not care about disappointing some players for not including their favorite class. With so many options, it's going to happen anyway. Instead, pick a couple of classes that simply make sense for you. You know, a Blade Master here, an Arcane Mage there,
Blade Master.
and just have fun. Having fun during development usually translates into great experiences. And I hope I'm not pressuring anyone by stirring up hype. If anything, I'm just happy
Twitch
that
Prime.
people find these videos interesting. And all I'm doing is presenting information that Riot released over
I
the
got
past
Vassal Lane
10
for the 19
years.
months.
I mean, I know the video is interesting because Asmon only paused 3 times and he said,
That's fucking cool.
and,
I like it a lot.
and,
What the fuck? This is actually really cool.
Dude, response 1 of 4. Response, dude, 2 out of 4.
that to me marks a big success. Next time we are going to talk about all the already established raid bosses of this universe, which is a very personal topic for me. You know, I am a father, my son is 2 years old, so by the time this MMO comes out, he's going to be just the right age to heal my raids.
Good. Farm you gold. Dude, I'm excited, man. I'm excited about this Riot MMO. I mean, I'm not too excited because I know it's gonna be a long time till it comes out. But I do like you guys know me. I played League for a lot of years. I played League of Legends for a lot of years. I still occasionally you know have deep dark thoughts, and I decide to play League of Legends. So I'm definitely a fan of what I think Riot can do with an MMO. And these videos are really good. Necrit's videos are actually phenomenal. These 2 videos that we've watched, and I think they do a really good job of kind of like breaking down the potential. It's all speculation, right? But they do a good job of breaking down the potential for what these games could have to offer. So super cool. I'm very excited. Very excited about this new Riot MMO. It's gonna come out in like 10 years, but you know, we'll always be looking at new games and everything, not just MMOs, but especially with MMOs, you guys know it's always gonna have like a very like nice like it's gonna be very dear to my heart. MMOs will always be dear to my heart. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you guys get notifications on my videos. My YouTube channel is like super scuffed. For some reason, my videos won't show up in your recommended, or you might not even get notifications. So make sure you hit all notifications. I do everything on this YouTube channel, and
Oh god
we
damn.
got a lot of games coming up,
Oh,
a lot
shit.
of fun stuff. Check out my stream, twitch.tv/SVanTV.
Oh, Lord.
YouTube
Oh.
is SVanTV, Discord,
Oh,
Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, everything is SVanTV. Check out all that stuff. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
You gotta love Asfan, man. Gots to love S fan. You watch. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Prior to his untimely death at the age of only 22, Ziz had become
Isn't
an
that
icon.
crazy?
Everything about him represented the never-ending struggle between success and hardship.
Bro, it's actually so crazy to me because like Jeff, who's like fucking super fit now, I think he was like a bodybuilder for a while. Ziz was like really big in like 2010, 2011, 2012, right? Like that's whenever like his shit first started like coming out. That was exactly, I think this guy got Jeff to start working out. Isn't that crazy? Like, for me, that's just so weird to think. Because I remember watching, Jeff was watching his videos, and he would show me this guy's videos, and I thought he was funny back in the day.
His physique, confidence, and status seemed effortless from the outside. However, on the inside, Ziz was constantly at war with himself. He battled with deep insecurities, a feeling of apathy, and an undesirable position of fame to the point where he wouldn't even leave his own house. Yet, as a result of making his struggle public and relatable to an online audience, Ziz would become one of the most well-regarded fitness influencers of all time, ending his physical transformation looking like this, and this. Although in the beginning, at a time when his main hobby was playing World of Warcraft, he looked a little more like this, and this.
Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't even know that. Oh my god. Holy shit, you have no idea. That's insane. What was his gear? Like, no fucking way. Bro, no wonder Jeff started fucking working out after this guy. Jeff played a Tauren warrior too. Holy fuck. Yo, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Looked a little more like this, and this. Ziz explained that I was ridiculously thin. I'm talking the skinniest guy in my grade school.
Like
People
me.
always commented on how skinny I was and I hated it.
Yeah,
I was
just
always
like
known
me
as the
happened.
skinny kid. I remember feeling like a little bitch when I was out with girls, walking next to them and feeling the same size as them. On the contrary, his older brother Saeed had begun to gain some size after going to the gym regularly, with Ziz also adding that I started going clubbing every weekend and always noticed whenever a jack dude walked by. They had a presence a lot greater than that of a normal person. The guys respect them and the girls are all over them. And really, who wouldn't want that? It was after making this
Just that
observation that
simple.
Ziz decided to embark on a fitness journey of his own. At the age of 17, he sold his World of Warcraft account for $500 before spending the money on a one-year gym membership at Fitness First Carlingford in
Oh
Sydney,
my God.
Australia.
Playing video games for like 20 hours a day, and then at one point he's just like, I'm done. So he sold his account, $300-400 of it he spent to get a membership at Fitness First.
Ziz explained that after signing up for the gym, he'd
That's
have his most
insane.
embarrassing moment by stating, when I was starting out, I went to do chest by myself. Had the bar plus 5 kilos on each side. Tried to go to 15 reps, couldn't get the last rep up and it was stuck, and the biggest guy in the gym came running to help. He got it off using one hand, lol. Accompanying Ziz's embarrassing chest day was the creation of his first YouTube channel on the 28th of July 2006, titled 7Ziz7, where he began to document everything in his life from fights at McDonald's to his opinions on music. However, the most interesting thing that he'd eventually capture stage by stage was without a doubt his body transformation.
Y'all remember that hair? Like everybody, like this is some prime time 2009 shit. Like everybody had that hair. Oh my God, the scene hair. Yeah, exactly. This is your hair if you listen to Hollywood Undead.
Only 1 year after failing to bench 30 kilos, Ziz had put on a respectable amount of size, and with it his reputation would shift from the unconfident skinny kid to an outgoing guy on the internet who would frequent the Sydney party scene with his brother. Now Ziz was still far from famous at this point. Sure, his physique was certainly looking better than it was in the beginning, but his transformation wasn't nearly complete. However, when looking at a post made by Ziz to the bodybuilding.com forums, it's obvious that he planned on continuing the grind, stating that this is what he wanted his body to look like in only 1 year's time. Well, this kind of transformation after only 12 months seemed almost impossible. A photo posted 1.5 years later showed that Ziz had made his goal a reality, yet unfortunately he would also add that it hadn't been achieved naturally. A forum post by Ziz explained that he had begun his first trend/sus cycle in April of 2008, only 1 month after his 19th birthday. And while this might have been somewhat disappointing for those following his fitness journey, there was no denying that Ziz looked absolutely incredible. Standing at 6 foot
There's a lot of guys I know that do fucking steroids, right? I mean, the reality is that there's a reason why that shit is banned. Okay? There's a reason why it's banned. It's because it really fucking works, but it can fuck you up.
Two with some fresh new tats and an absolutely yoked physique, Ziz represented something like the ideal masculine image.
He was the voice for all the skinny dudes out there who wanted to get bigger and get attention or get girls or get noticed or get respect.
And did he get all those things?
Yeah, he did.
However, this wasn't even the primary reason behind why people began to love him. It was that he had this image, yet he tried not to take life too seriously, breaking the overly serious gym bro stereotype.
Funny, yeah.
The Ziz persona was just an act for social media. Ziz created Ziz to be his perfect representation of who he wanted to be and who he played up to be for his perceived stereotype based on his appearance.
He would state in an interview, "Personally, I'm a very friendly and happy person and believe that people need to lighten up and enjoy life more. Even though I put on a lot of size and to some look intimidating, I'm one of the friendliest people you can meet. I love playing up my perceived..."
I feel like a lot of, I've always noticed that is like a lot of the really, really nice guys, like you see like these really, really big dudes. Like, yo, Cody, you remember this shit, right? Like, yeah, Cody's in chat. That's Jeff's brother. You remember? Dude, this motherfucker played a Tauren warrior. I swear to God, this is the reason why Jeff started working out. What the fuck? Oh my God. Yeah, it's like every time, like, yeah, you see some big dude at the gym, they're always very friendly and nice. Yeah. I watched this in like 2008. Yeah, I remember watching them over at that fucking like that desk that y'all had. That like Jeff fucking broke the keyboard tray off of. I remember that. Yeah. So I went to the gym. Yeah, he's why I think a lot of people went to the gym. Yeah. Broke his toe. Remember when he hit 60? Yeah.
Stereotype, and at the end of the day never take myself seriously, which is one of the reasons that I've accrued the fan base that I have. Now sure, it's obvious that Aziz Shaversian, the real Ziz, built his physique in real life for serious reasons. However, online, Ziz was more of a character that represented the classic fitness douchebag. He even clarified in one of his video's descriptions that Ziz is not a person, Ziz is merely a personification of a way of life. With this being the goal, he began to build a reputation for being somewhat of an online troll.
Political views, whichever politician is most aesthetic. Barack Obama's pretty aesthetic for a politician, so he deserves to run the country.
What's your religion? Shredology. The belief that transcendence of life into heaven is achieved at 6% body fat. A complete euphoria and sense of accomplishment overcomes the shredder, entering almost surpassing the majestic boundaries of human emotion. What quality do you value most in your friends? Body fat percentage. In the process of playing this character, Ziz would deepen his legacy by seemingly inventing or at least popularizing a whole new gym bro language. Phrases such as you mad, you Myron, fuck, bruh, and come at me bro seem to make up more than 50% of Ziz's vocabulary, and while you might say that these phrases were common before Ziz, he certainly popularized them even further. In addition to transforming his vocabulary, Ziz would also see a complete overhaul in his success with women. In a forum post he was asked, how much attention did you get before working out? To which he'd respond,
all natural LOL. Holy fuck. Oh my god.
none. I never hooked up with a girl till after I finished school. Yes, strong loser. Never cared about the way I looked, did my hair, etc. But that's because I had no self-confidence. As soon as I started going gym, my confidence skyrocketed, and I have no trouble approaching or talking to any girl, and most of the time they come up to me. Serious. Now, in all honesty, I wouldn't be able to count how many girls I've hooked up with, lol. Maybe a few hundred or so in the last 3 years, lol.
I also love how much, like, this is such a fucking time capsule to how people talked in 2009. Like, not only is like, yeah, it's fucking, like, just what he's saying is ridiculous, but on top of that, the way he's saying it is fucking ridiculous. I love it. I think I almost like that more than just the video itself, you know? It gives me like it's like a time capsule, right? Oh my god, this is good.
Well, Ziz had gone from a guy who felt inferior next to girls because he was the same size as them, to a guy who, when messaged by hot girls, simply used it as another opportunity to troll. Looking good, I would appreciate an accept so we can chat. Thanks. Hey darling, awesome to have you as a friend. Appreciate your offer, but no thanks. You are 7 out of 10 at best. And because I'm a lot more beautiful than you physically, I do not think there is any reason as to why I must undertake a chat with you, as I would only do so with people who are on my par genetics-wise, so as to pass strong and attractive genes to my future children. Unfortunately, I'm afraid you would bring our children down 2 points, and judging by your risque DP and ability to message random guys out of the blue, you're more than likely a whore.
Oh
Thanks for the
God.
advo, hope we can still be friends.
Bro, like this shit, like I remember I probably watched this 10 years ago and thought to myself, fucking based, oh my god, this guy is a legend. Holy fucking shit, wow.
Ziz often posted these hilarious exchanges to his Facebook, resulting in over 400,000 followers, which then gave him the opportunity to feature in Underbelly and another show titled The National Road Trip. Additionally, Ziz would launch his own protein label and a book titled Ziz's Bodybuilding Bible, both of which performing quite well upon release. However, shortly after achieving such viral success, Ziz began to notice how much fame was becoming a burden on his life.
That's a lot to take in for a 19-year-old, that amount of fame to hit you that hard. Because of that pressure, you started using more drugs, more steroids.
I started saying no to photos and people just thought I was a dickhead. I'm not joking how many photos I get asked for. At a festival, it's up to 400 to 500 sometimes. First few months was like, whoa, this is awesome. Other times you can't be effed, and I feel sorry for my mates who have to put up with it now when they're out with me. I would have never expected it to get like how it has.
Damn.
In addition to being asked for hundreds of photos per festival, Ziz would make a post to the bodybuilding.com forums explaining that every time he'd go shopping, people would yell at him, come at me bro, or you Myron, and that he'd rather the video that had made him so famous never have been posted in the first place.
That sucks, man. That actually really sucks if it's getting to him and bothering him that way. Yeah. Suffering from success? Yeah, literally.
More negative press would cultivate after his brother Chessbra was arrested for possessing anabolic steroids in mid-2011, with news articles on the topic featuring Ziz's photos, simply because he was the more famous brother, which became even worse after a video would surface of Chessbra stating that Ziz was actually the one who introduced him to steroids.
Surprisingly, it was Az. He was the one that introduced it to me, even though everyone thinks it's the opposite way around, because I'm the older brother. He was the one who introduced me to it. Every week he'll jump on the scale and he'll be like, look, I'm a kilo heavier this week. Next week he'll be 2 kilos heavier. The week after he'll be 3 kilos heavier. And he'd look at me and Babbo and he'll just laugh at us. And I was thinking, what the going on? Like, this guy's putting a kilo on every week and getting leaner and fuller. And he's eating like a horse. Like, something doesn't add up.
The immense pressure put on Ziz not only cultivated a refusal to leave the house unless he had friends around him.
He used to be scared just to go out in public, bro, that he needed to bring 2 or 3 of his mates everywhere he went just because of the anxiety and the paranoia that he used to get from going out. There was a lot of things that Aziz was feeling on the inside of his mind as well that a lot of us can really, really never tap into unless we knew him personally, you know what I mean?
But he'd also adopt the attitude in a Facebook post that he no longer wanted to be Ziz at all. I'm sad to announce that I have officially finished with training, festivals, and being Ziz. I want to move my life in other directions, and have found myself far too involved in a lifestyle with no genuine substance, meeting far too many fake people / girls who, if I didn't look the way I did, would have never given me the time of day. Time to get back to studying. There's more to life than partying. 4 months after making this post in August of 2011, Ziz would board a flight to Thailand for what seemed to be a much-needed vacation.
Yeah.
Given the timing, it was likely that Ziz was simply trying to get away from the chaos back in Sydney, although what was waiting for him in Thailand would prove to be much worse. Scarily enough, Ziz had actually predicted his own death on multiple different occasions. When asked, "Where do you see yourself in 20 years?" Ziz responded with one frightening word: dead. And while this response was probably somewhat of a joke, on the 5th of August 2011, while sitting in a sauna in Pattaya, Ziz would suffer a heart attack from which he would never recover.
A well-known Sydney bodybuilder has died after collapsing in a sauna in Thailand. Doctors say the 23-year-old had an undiagnosed heart condition, but some say a growing obsession with body image is dangerous.
As mentioned in the news report, it was discovered that Ziz had an undiagnosed heart condition which could have killed him at any time, although of course many have speculated that his use of PEDs helped in causing his death sooner rather than later. More concerned with how his brother...
Wow, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Yeah, like that sucks. Like fuck. Yeah. It's not rocket science. Yes, it's regular science. Yeah. I don't know. That's. Saw this video like 10 years. Yeah. What the fuck? Drugs are terrible. Yeah. Like that's why I always say like don't fucking do drugs, man. Don't fucking do drugs. They're gonna kill you.
Was going to be remembered. Chessbro would upload a 19-minute long tribute video titled Aziz the Legacy, which to this day has gained over 16 million views, with the comments perfectly summing up the positive impact that Ziz made during his time on Earth.
Man, that actually, like, that fucked me up. Like, goddamn. That's sad.
That sucks.
Oh my god. Do it the right way, eat healthy and normal exercise. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean... People gonna do what they're gonna do. I mean, that's just what happens.
Somewhere else.
It also sucks. Like, I mean, it just like the popularity fucked with his head that much. Like, that would be really, really stressful.
Hope you go to bed.
For like just for you to deal with and to fucking hate it all the time. Like, goddamn. Body dysmorphia is a bitch. I mean, I think everybody, like not everybody, but like a lot of people probably wish that they looked a different way than they did. Right? They wish they had more hair. They wish they were a little bit, you know, a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller, you know, maybe taller, whatever, right? And it's just, it fucks with your head, man. It does, and it's just like, it's so hard to know how to approach something like that too. I wish I was maybe a baller, maybe a bit taller, shot caller, yeah, exactly. And man, like it was. I guess, like, to me, it's, like, kind of weird because I like, so vividly remember watching these videos with, like, Jeff, especially, back in the day and thinking, like, wow, this guy's actually, like, really fucking funny. I like this guy, you know? Like, this guy's cool. And I had no idea he, like, played WoW, and he also played a Tauren warrior like Jeff did. Like, what the fuck, man? There's a video. This is actually really good. I didn't even really know what happened to him. Like, I wasn't really sure. But to just know that shit can happen to you is just scary as fuck, man. It really is. Someone works out a lot, used to be skinny as fuck. Whatever gains never really seemed to be enough. I mean, that's the same with anything, right? It's like the same with people that are streamers and they're like, well, you know, if I get to X viewers, I can finally relax. If I get to this many viewers, I can finally calm down. And, you know, everything. Then you get there and you succeed, and then it just makes you want more of it, and you feel like you're never really where you want to be, and it sucks, right? I think it's the same. There's always another milestone. It's keeping up appearances. It never stops. Yeah, you're never gonna calm down, and it's hard. Like, I mean, I've struggled with that. I think a lot of people have, and it doesn't matter like whether you're doing bodybuilding, streaming, or, you know, trying to make money at some job. Like, I think it's all the same. It's just the kind of personality that you know, that can sometimes succeed, also exceeds, and this is sometimes what the outcome of it is. It sucks. It fucking sucks, man. That's the thing. You're not satisfied with what you have. You want to feel satisfied whenever you get what you want. I think that's true in a lot of cases. It's not true in all cases. Like, there are some times where you know, you will be happy whenever you get what you want if, like, that is a stable job, or that is, you know, like a car that you don't have to worry is going to break down every time you drive to 7-Eleven. There are many cases where getting what you want will legitimately make you happier. But I think that it's hard to ask yourself the honest question, is that really true in the circumstance that you're looking at the time? You see what I mean? One needs to be very stress tolerant to be successful and not suffer from it. Well, it's also like, I mean, the guy has like people coming out to him all the time, trying to talk to him constantly, and it can be exhausting, I'm sure. Big dudes always die younger than small guys because bigger you are, harder your organs have to work. I think the guy was doing drugs, he was doing steroids, he was in a sauna, probably had a heart rate of 200 and something. He fucking died. Like, that's what happens. Don't fucking do that shit. Yeah, don't fucking do that shit, and it won't be an issue. How do I handle it? I mean, I have people come up to me, you know, pretty regularly if I go out, and if I go to like an event, like, yeah, a bunch of people come up to me. It doesn't really bother me because I kind of like depersonalize. Like, it doesn't, like, I don't know why it just doesn't bother me. It bothers people around me, but it doesn't bother me. I think also, yeah, I'm not getting 500 a day though. Like, if I go to BlizzCon or something, sure, right? But not like just out walking around. No. So Ackman is back. He came out with a new video, and we're gonna watch it. The video title is just a really, really great title. It's called Activision Blizzard is a hilariously bad company.
Money going, because you know what happens now? What? My life, you know, I'm flying on private jets. I'm eating in all these restaurants. I'm driving all these supercars, and it's very hard for me to find a way for women to show me respect, because they're just like on the jet, duh. I go to the restaurant, duh. They're in the club, duh.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? And they're like, and most dudes are happy just to get pussy. They're like, who doesn't want to fuck me? So duh.
So how can she add, you know, and also too, I worry if I'm too submissive, will he not respect me?
Nah, no. Get rid of that. Get rid of that.
Get rid of that stupid shit.
That won't respect me crap. That's not real.
Is that real? Really?
You know what? So many women say to me, you're so, Andrew, you know what? You're so rich, but you're smart, and you're actually very intelligent, and I know you'd get really bored of a robot. And I'm sitting there thinking, bitch, I wish to God you were a robot. You better shut the fuck up. We talk about star signs? Oh yeah, I'm so glad. Tell me more about Sagittarius rising, you idiots. I don't give a fuck. Give me a robot. All men want robots. That's all we want. 4 wives, robots, inshallah. Put the burqa on.
Yep.
What are you talking about? We don't care. 2 coffees. That's it. It's nice and easy. There's no such thing as too submissive. There's no such thing. I'm never going to look at a beautiful woman who does everything I say and go, you know what? You do too much of what I say. I want to go get some disagreeable bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
On what planet?
But Cobra, let me tell you what you're saying. If there's truth to it, and judging by my husband's reaction, listen, we've had world famous comedians sit across from him. He's never spit coffee out of his nose like he just did for you.
It's because it's like, you know what it is? Sometimes you see these videos of these guys that are lost, and then they walk into a church, and then the preacher says like the exact right thing from the Bible, and the guy's like, oh my God, this is what I needed. I feel the same way right now. I feel like
I love to hear that, friend. I love to hear that. Thank you.
It's really good to have you here. And speaking, if I could be, I don't know, to borrow from them, I think you're kind of speaking the gospel right now.
Well, the truth is, you know what's crazy about all of this? Because when people attack my views, what they don't understand is that the relationships I'm describing are not just perfect for the man. Women are absolutely happy serving a man they respect. Women are absolutely happy saying, you know what, I know I have the best man on the planet, and I know I make him happy. Women are happy with that.
Yeah, that's true.
They're far more happy with that than they are working some fucking career.
Yeah.
And some garbage. Oh, I have thoughts and opinions and a job.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up. Have kids,
dumb
sit at
bitch.
home, be quiet, make coffee.
Yeah.
And it makes everybody happier in the long run. It's good for everyone. I don't know how this is even controversial anymore.
Right, but Cobra, might I interject that if women were truly happy doing that for so long, maybe this whole women's lib thing, how did that come about?
That's a psyop from the New World Order. They're deliberately trying to turn women against men. They have to divide the peasants. That's the only way the elites can retain control. They turn the blacks against the whites, the Democrats against the Republicans, the women against the men. It's all a psyop, and they do it purposefully. Listen, a revolution is nothing more than men standing in one place and saying this shit has to change. The reason there's no revolution, despite the absolute tyranny we experience here in the Western world, is because most men aren't allowed out the house because their wife will get mad at them. You have to be home at 10 o'clock. Come home. You're not allowed out.
Well, what about the kids? Should he be home?
Sure, you should be home for your kids, but my point is you're not going to feel like a king or feel brave enough to go and rebel against the New World Order if you don't even feel in charge of your own house. If you're not a king in your own house, then how are you a king anywhere else, right? And the law is set up in a way in the Western world. The law is set up in the way in the Western world where men have absolutely zero power. Most men are clinically depressed, working jobs they hate, in sexless marriages, and they know they can't leave because they lose the house and they lose the kids and they lose everything else. So they don't have time to be concerned with anything that's actually happening in the world. They keep us divided and distracted. And empowering females is the easiest way to weaken the will of men. What happened when when the Romans conquered the Greeks? The first thing they did was kill all the fighting age males. And we live in a world now where they are deliberately killing the fighting age males. They're killing the spirit, the warrior spirit inside of men. And they're doing that by motivating females and empowering them to the point where they're going to sit there and go, you know what? I'm a feminist. You can't tell me what to do. I'm allowed to go out with my friends. He's just my friend. I'm allowed to sleep at his house and drink vodka. Oh, I only sucked his dick. What's the problem? You know what? Fine, we get a divorce. I'm taking the fucking house.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yep. How do you feel about women serving in the military, stuff like that?
I think that's the biggest mistake a female could possibly make. Why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah.
One, you're shit at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Yeah. Like anyone who's out here who's actually been through something, as I have, knows that when the fight goes down, you need to win it the right way. You don't need the screaming in your ear, right? So they're shit at it. That's the first thing. And the second thing, it's part of the psyop. They're masculine. In the Western world, they are trying to turn females masculine. It's not an accident. None of this is an accident. All of this is done very, very purposefully. And it's to destroy the will of man. The reason I feel compelled to say the things I say and do the things I do, etc., is because I live in a country where there's no femme-centric government that's going to come and destroy me. And also in my relationships with females, people tell me, Andrew, just put the mask on. Andrew, just be quiet. Andrew, it's late. Don't lose your job. Andrew, the kids, blah, blah, blah. They're just sucking men down the pit.
So hold on. Do you mean to tell me that Cobra Tate will not be married, will not be tamed?
It's not about being tamed or married. I don't believe in marriage in terms of an institution, not because I am against the idea of loving a woman, but I'm so anti-government. I don't want them to have anything to do with me, especially where my dick goes. Fuck them. Yeah. So I refuse to sign the piece of paper because that's why I hate governments more.
Okay. So there won't be a Mrs. Cobra Tate.
No, if I meet a woman and I point.
Yeah. You.
She's Mrs. Cobra Tate. Yeah. I don't need the government to give me fucking approval.
Have you met a woman yet that you go,
What do you mean? That's all I fucking do. What are you talking about? I'm just pump. You got a sister, bitch?
Bump.
Wow. You think I'm playing games?
You
think I'm playing games?
Do you ever worry that a woman just is with you for the wrong reasons, and therefore, do you ever hide how successful you are? You know what I mean? Like just to see like what happens when like the Lambo's in the garage.
That's a good question, and I think you have to look at it under a different frame.
Okay.
If she's only with me because I am tall, strong, rich, and successful, and smart, and interesting, and charismatic, and humble,
and funny,
and funny. If she's only with me for those things, and I'm only with her because she's beautiful and shuts the fuck up, who's more shallow?
You.
So who cares?
Right.
So I'm not going to be gold dug because I'm not an idiot. Like no girl's going to come to me and say, "Give me money."
Yeah.
If I decide to buy her a present for her birthday, it's my prerogative.
Right.
I'm not stupid. I'm not a punk. But I think that this whole idea of shallow is kind of hard to define, right? Some go, they're only with you because you're rich and tall and gorgeous. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What else are they going to be with me for? Like, duh, I'm only with her because she's gorgeous too.
Yeah.
It's normal. That's human nature.
So hold on, though. Have you had a serious relationship?
I have many serious relationships as we speak.
Are you poly?
No, because that means they can talk to other dudes. That's fucking haram. That's atrocious. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Agreed. Throughout the majority of human history, female promiscuity has been absolutely frowned upon. Only in the Western world we're going to pretend it's an okay thing. Every single culture since the dawn of human time and every single place on the planet has said that female promiscuity is disgusting to the point where females were executed for it.
Yeah.
And most of the world today...
As they should be.
Get the rocks.
Yeah.
Abdul?
Yeah. Get the rocks.
Get the rocks.
Yep.
In most of the world today, it's still frowned upon. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Whereas every single king and sultan and sheikh since the dawn of human time had multiple women. Men are allowed multiple women. Women are not allowed multiple men. Because if a woman has multiple men, you cannot assure paternity. And the modern science of the devil, just because you can work out how the dad is, doesn't mean the actions are acceptable.
That's true.
Under the will of God. I can walk and have 10. I can walk and have 10 wives behind me. That's perfectly acceptable.
So hold
if
on.
a woman has 10 men, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely vile.
Yes.
Females should not talk to any man besides her brothers, her father, and the man she's with. If she truly loves me, she should want as much help as possible to cater to me and serve me and make me coffee. She should encourage me to get more wives.
Amen.
Sounds like Sharia law is your. Wait, so
I'm a Christian.
Have you ever? What's the longest you've been in a monogamous situation?
Monogamous?
No.
So wait. You mean her being monogamous to me or me being monogamous to her?
No, Sophie, get down.
Ever happened? Will it ever happen?
I don't see the point. I don't see the advantage.
Children.
I can have children while fucking another bitch. Watch me.
But here's the deal, man. But they will drain your finances. Multiple baby mamas.
Nobody drains my finances. I'm the big G. I don't think you understand. You cannot drain the big G's finances. The biggest mistake you could possibly make, the biggest mistake a female could possibly make is trying to go to war. She could come and say, please, can I have this, the baby needs diapers, whatever. Maybe, okay, fine.
Maybe.
But if you were to, maybe. That little fucker can shit on the floor for free.
Yeah.
But if you're going to come to me with like a legal letter or something, you're going to get crushed. Decimated.
Oh my God.
I'm petty.
I'm terrified
And I'm rich.
of you.
I will do anything it takes to not pay you. I'll go to the jungle, I'll burn it all. I'll sit there broke myself, everyone's going to starve. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sweet with a lady?
I'm sweet now.
When you're
What do you mean I am sweet?
Do you ever, is there ever like a tender?
Completely.
If I, with a lady alone, is there ever a toned down version of this guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not that I'm some psycho and I don't believe that men and women should be in love. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I should be allowed to have a bunch of chicks and do whatever I want, and she should obey. And if she will do that, then I absolutely will love her. Why wouldn't I? Right? Love is a real thing, and love is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just so full of love I need more than one woman.
Maybe.
I think that's really the case.
And you're such a virile man that hey, you have to lean into the mic more, my love.
Sorry.
Push it towards you. You're too virile to be tied down.
Well, it's just, I just don't see the advantage. I really do believe that if any man, this is a red pill most people don't want to accept, but if you were to get any man on the planet and say to him, you have a wife and she loves you and she's going to remain loyal to you and you can still fuck around with other women.
Wow.
Do you want that, yes or no? If any man's honest, he's going to say yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's the game. So
Yeah,
I'm in a fortunate enough situation where I managed to pull it off, right? I don't pull it off with money or anything else. I meet beautiful young ladies who look at me and go, you know what, Andrew, you're such a special individual. You're such an amazing character that I accept you. It's like when, all right.
Yeah.
You like cars, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. If you buy a McLaren, you accept that half the time it's going to fucking break for no reason. It's just a pain in the ass. If you want something reliable, you get a Toyota. If you want something sexy as fuck that comes with a bunch of problems, you get a McLaren. I'm the McLaren. You chose me, bitch.
You are the McLaren.
You chose me. I'm not going to act like a Toyota. I'm the McLaren. So you're just going to have to accept what comes with me.
Yeah.
You are a McLaren. That's really good. That's accurate.
It's a good analogy. No?
It is a really good analogy.
I use that to Romanian bitches don't even speak English. Like, McLaren? I'm like, yes, bitch. McLaren.
That's all they
Shut
up.
So can I ask you this? Because there's a lot of this is a primarily male audience.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they look for guidance. They look to some of the guests that have spectacular careers. A lot of them, are like, hey, I need a little bit of help. Like, I'm a little lost. What's like your advice to a guy who's whatever? He could be coming out of university or in his 30s, but he's like looking for a little direction. How do you start off, get centered to become successful? Get money, get bitches. Like, what would you tell them?
I can answer that question in so many different ways.
Mhm.
There's like 10 different answers I can give. But I think truthfully, in the world we're living in now, I use this analogy a lot. Maybe I overuse it, but you need to find a way to some degree to escape the matrix. And I say the matrix because the matrix, the way it is designed.
And you're not
now-
just talking shit because you've actually done that.
I've escaped the matrix.
Yeah.
I've literally escaped the matrix in nearly every form. So any form of oppression no longer applies to me. I can't be canceled. No, I can say what I want. My finances are secure. I've escaped the matrix. And when I talk about the matrix, it primarily applies to men because men are the backbone of the slave force. We always have been and always will be. And unfortunately now, if you're a law-abiding man inside the matrix, your future and the life that is laid out for you is nothing but depressing. You're going to go to school, you're going to get in debt, you're going to get a job, you're going to get a wife, divorce is coming, you're going to lose the house eventually, your job's shit, inflation's outpacing your wages, you're going to work, no one's going to appreciate it, now you're old and your life's over. That is the matrix for 99% of men, and you need to find a way to escape it. And I guess I was kind of fortunate from a young age. I always knew that the matrix was coming and that the system is designed to oppress. The people who make the rules do not make the rules for the benefit of us. They make the rules for the benefit of the people who make the rules. And I knew that. And I think every person intrinsically knows that. Like if it's 4 a.m. and you're sitting in a gas station and a Lambo pulls up, you're probably thinking drug dealer or criminal. You're not thinking, oh, he definitely went to school.
Yeah.
No, so everyone knows this, right?
That's true.
So you have to find a way to escape the matrix to some degree.
But wait, let me stop you. When you say you intrinsically knew this, I feel like a lot of people would assume that somebody is giving you some guidance too. Like, did you have somebody that was, kind of laying some of this out to you, like a male figure that was informing you a bit?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have the most fantastic father on the planet. So my dad did make a lot of things very clear to me from a young age. My father was a chess grandmaster, and he was a nomadic individual. So he lived in a car or in random hotels and floated around the world playing chess.
Man, these chess grandmasters are all like so smart that becomes like a common thing.
They're so smart that they're socially weird.
Yeah.
So like my father was socially strange, but he was a genius, and on top of that, he's like a 6'4" black dude. So it's very unusual, like a chess grandmaster, but he's also physically intimidating.
Yeah.
But he's also socially weird. So he's a kind of weird guy to be around.
Yeah.
But he was nomadic, and he was just hustling. Sometimes he'd have to go down the local chess park and just hustle for dollars to eat. And other times he's beating grandmasters for 20, 30 grand paychecks. So it's it was an interesting life, and he taught me a lot about the fact that the system is absolutely broken. It's designed to oppress, and that the majority of people who stick to the rules are going to lose. I don't want to sit here on a podcast that goes out to this many people and encourage anyone to break the law in any form.
Of course.
But the idea of the law-abiding citizen has been decimated in real time. In the last 3 years ago, you could stand there and proudly say, I'm a law-abiding citizen. The last 2 years, if they have not taught you that being a law-abiding citizen is going to turn you nothing into a fucking experiment for Big Pharma, then you're an idiot. You can no longer obey the law. And I'm not saying you have to break the law, but you need to find a way to do what the elites do, which is bend the law.
Yeah.
You can no longer sit there and go, I'm just going to follow the rules and it's going to be okay. No, it isn't. And if you're a man, it's your job to find a way to not be sticking to those rules enough to escape the matrix and become free. Because what's actually most crazy about this period of history is that it's actually the easiest time in human history to become rich. And the reason for that is because there's so many people inside the matrix being destroyed. Money has to go somewhere. I've made so much money during COVID, it's absolutely incredible, right?
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of people got lucky. They buy a crypto coin, it fucking goes up 100x and this kind of crap.
That
Like
shit's
there's money
wild.
just flowing around the world.
May I ask, because the audience would, we've been following you, and how do you generate your income? Are you
Right,
fighting? We know you're a fighter.
I was a fighter. So there's my 2 primary sources. I have 3 primary sources of income. Wait, 3, 4. I'm thinking of which ones I'll tell you about.
Yeah.
4. I have 4 primary sources of income that I'm prepared to disclose to the world.
Okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
The first thing is I own some casinos in Romania.
Fantastic.
The story of how I opened them is long, but I'll make it very, very short. There was a guy who owns 400 casinos, 3 brothers, mafia guys. They own 400 casinos throughout Eastern Europe. I came up to him and said, look, I want to do a franchise with you. They said, we're not interested in franchises. We have enough money. We just open them ourselves. We turn over 10 million euros a day. Why do I need to franchise? Eventually, I came up with a plan. And I said, look, how about this? I'll open up your locations directly next to your biggest competitor. So I'll go to war for you next to the competitor. Worst case, the location doesn't pay any money, but at least it takes money from your competitor. I'll give you a percentage of turnover, so even if it doesn't make profit, you make money. I'll take all the financial risk. They agreed. I started opening up next to their biggest competitor. I actually did something that was kind of funny. What I tried to do was find ones in between their competitor and a Starbucks. I'd open in the middle, and then I'd offer loads and loads of free coffee with a barista and a sexy chick. So instead of going to Starbucks, you could just take your money, go get free coffee, and gamble. and I ended
Nice.
up making a bunch of money. I took his competitor down, bang, bang, bang. So I opened them up. That's the first thing. That's the first one of the first ways I made money.
That's what's
Good
up, dude.
business.
Yeah, I did
That's
all right.
tight.
Yeah, I'll do that. Second, my brother runs a company that manages girls on OnlyFans. So a female without instruction is headed for destruction. Women are intrinsically lazy.
Yep.
Intrinsically. If you show a man how to make $1,000 in an hour, he'll think, I can make $24,000 a day. If you show a woman how to make $1,000 in an hour, she'll think, I only have to work 3 hours a week because they are fucking lazy.
Stupid bitches.
Lazy.
Smart.
Entitled and fucking lazy.
Yep.
Absolutely. So my brother comes
Hey, you
along.
just had that on deck.
Yeah.
Good job.
So my brother comes along and says, listen, you're making a little bit of money. You're a fine Caucasian of the wrong persuasion. The men think you're handsome. They should pay your ransom. We're going to change it up. You're going to listen to me. I'm going to install some structure and some discipline in your fucking life. And you're going to make some real money. And I'm going to get a percentage. So my brother runs an OnlyFans agency. I'll be honest. So my brother's making $200,000 a month from OnlyFans. Casino's making more than that. And then I've got an online school actually called Hustlers University. I have a university online. And
Really?
Yes, and I teach people how to make money with 18 modern wealth creation methods.
So
Wow,
that's okay.
That's cool as shit.
So how can somebody sign up for that?
That is on CobraTape.com. You can see it. It's called Hustlers University. It's $49 a month. And I teach 18 modern wealth creation methods on how to make money. And I do this not because I'm a philanthropist. I want everyone to understand this is not philanthropy. I'm not trying to be a nice guy, and I'm certainly not trying to make money. But I genuinely believe we're living in a pivotal period of human history.
Yeah.
I believe that things are about to get a lot worse before they get better.
Yes.
And I believe that anyone who thinks like me and is aligned with me and understands about the global enslavement, if they're going to be on my team, I want them to be rich. Money gives you power. So I am teaching anybody who will listen to my videos and understand what I'm saying and doesn't hate me how to make as much money as possible, because when the time comes and the battle call is made, I need rich people around me.
Yeah.
That's what Hustlers University is about. So it's right there. We teach everything about how to make money from cryptocurrency,
And
e-commerce,
anyone can a
stocks,
woman sign up for this?
anybody.
Okay.
Oh, a woman can do this.
I will allow females into my program for the moment.
Yeah.
Women are fucking stupid.
Well,
That's
yeah,
right, yes.
they struggle with the reading and the work. You know,
That's what I was gonna say,
They're
if
like,
they can read.
but they try their very best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're hot, they can get a private class.
Oh, okay.
But otherwise, fuck them. So that's Hustlers University. I teach 18 modern wealth creation methods. There's me and there's 17 other professors in there teaching how to make money. It's only $49 a month. We have about 6,000 students, so that's doing well.
So you were making some real money, man.
I'll be honest. I make $2 million a month, something like that.
Wow.
That's a really good. It's a
fantastic.
good living.
Good
I do
for
all right.
you.
I do all right. And then I also have the last thing I'll talk about is the War Room, and the War Room is my own secret society.
What's that?
It's a secret society.
Like Illuminati type shit?
Correct. So the War Room is for men who. The Hustlers University is about money, and the War Room is about everything else outside of money. It's for everything that is not money. Once you start making money, you realize there's so much more to life than money. If you need to go to Moscow during a lockdown and you need a business visa, who do you call? You call the War Room, right? Yeah. It's one of those things. So we have a secret society. We operate all around the world. We have over 3,000 members in 72 countries.
No, no
And that's
bitches
what we're
allowed in this.
No females.
No.
Fuck no.
Yeah, fuck no.
I see all those cigars. Girls don't, yeah.
Do you suck dick on demand?
Do you know why I smoke cigars?
Why?
No.
Because they raise your testosterone level.
Really?
Hey man, I smoke cigars.
He
I
does
didn't even know
too.
that.
See?
What's that?
Look, I have a friend right away.
Yeah.
Here I was thinking I was going to be under fire.
Yeah.
Turns out I made friends in Texas. This
Oh,
is amazing.
no. Tom loves you.
Oh,
He's,
perfect.
he's nodding his head. His neck is practically going to break. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Two
you
coffees,
leave
G.
tonight, right?
They're fueling the jet. I mean,
Okay.
when I first got here, I had the one coffee. I said fuel the jet. Now the jet's the fuel's going in, so I'm probably gonna have to bounce.
Damn,
But
that's too bad.
Well,
That's too bad.
it's a shame, I know.
Yeah, man.
But I'll be around. Look, I'm around the world. I'm here. I'm there. I'm around.
Okay,
I'm around. But anyway, sorry for ranting on and on about the global enslavement of man. But you know what? No, I'm not fucking sorry for anything.
Yeah, of course.
If you're a man with any level of testosterone level, and you've been witnessing what's been happening in the world in the last 2 years, I struggle to sleep at night. Like literally, what's happening is fucking crazy, and I'm struggling to sleep. And I'm an individual with $50 million who can hide and disappear. If I was Joe Schmo, I'd be scared. You're out here. They're lying to you about the inflation rate. You're not getting a pay rise. Like what? Where's your panic?
Yeah.
People are not panicking. They lack perspicacity. They're not paying attention to anything.
Google perspicacity?
It's the ability to be perceptive.
Oh, shit.
And they're not paying attention to anything, and they're just sitting there waiting for the fucking steamroller. You think in 10 years from now things are going to be better? Like, what's out? You out of your fucking mind? You need to prepare for this. And the whole idea of prepping in the old traditional sense of buying a bunch of food and hiding in the forest and the cabin in the woods, that ain't going to work either. You need a global network. You need a secret society. You need places you can hide. You need money, and you need the ability to bounce. That's what you need. That's what I have, right? But I don't know how fucking Joe Schmo's even functioning in society nowadays, because I'd be furious. I'd be like, what the fuck? You tell me inflation's 7%? That's a lie.
Do you feel like those most of those people are just not like alert? They're not awake, right? They're just kind of following along.
We suffer. The modern world suffers from a bout of cowardice. The average man in the world today is just a fucking coward. It's not that he doesn't pay attention. It's not that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's that if he pretends it isn't there, it's ostrich shit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hide. I don't know what to do, so I want to hide from it. It can't possibly be true. No, they can't possibly have lied about that.
Oh,
no,
boy.
it's all cowardice, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a coward. Because when you accept the realities, now you need to do something. You're implored to act.
Yeah.
They don't want that. So we're suffering from a massive pandemic of cowardice. That's the only pandemic in the world today. I see it, men say it all the time. Well, it's not that bad. You know it's that bad. You're just too pussy to admit it because you don't know what to fucking do about it.
You
That's
don't
the thing,
wanna
though, is that
do
they don't know what
anything.
to do.
They don't know what to do.
Well, I'll tell them what to do. Join Hustlers University, get some money, join the war room, prove yourself amongst a society of men which are doing something. Look, we're not breaking any laws, fucking FBI. You can join as much as you want. All we're doing is we're sitting around, men who understand. I'm a chess player, right? My father was a chess player. I truly have no intention of changing the world. I have no political affiliation. I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm not right, I'm not left. I don't believe in changing the rules of the game. I believe in winning. In chess, when you look at the board, you don't sit there and go, I'm losing, I wish a pawn could move that way. That's stupid, because that's not the game.
Right.
What I do believe in saying is, okay, I'm fucked, but what's the best possible move?
Yes.
And what you'll actually notice is a grandmaster, you play a grandmaster at chess, he is sticking to the same rules as you. He's within the same constraints, but he will destroy you because he has a better understanding of the rules. I'm not out to change any rules. My society's not out to change any rules. The society can stay exactly as it is, can be as corrupt as it is. Don't give a fuck. I have no political affiliation. I don't care who's president. Don't care. All I care about is analyzing the chessboard and making the most intelligent move for myself and my people.
Well, life is
That's all
too
I'm
short
interested in
for
doing.
you to change the whole system. You're not going to do it in this lifetime or the
Did
next.
your,
so.
by the way, did your father teach you how to play?
Yes.
Oh,
So that
no
must have been a
shit.
crazy.
Yeah, but I'm still, yeah, it is. But you know what? What's truth it's kind of upsetting to some degrees. I'm still crap. Like I'm good, but I'm shit.
Right,
Because
right,
like I could play any normal person and smoke them.
Yeah.
In ELO and chess terms, I'm around 1800. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. But my father was a master. He was like 2500, and it's amazing how good these people are at chess. My father used to beat me at chess from the other room. So I'd have the board. He'd be cooking dinner. I'd say E4, C5, knight F3, knight C6, and he'd just read it out while cooking dinner and smoke without looking at the chessboard. It's incredible. Yeah.
And then when you moved to the UK, though, because I'm interested in this, you got into kickboxing, right? You got into fighting.
Well, it's a logical jump, no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Most chess guys, you're like, I don't want to fuck with this guy. He'll kick my ass. But like, how did you stumble into fighting?
I lost my chess coach because my father stayed in America. So I lost my chess coach, and I decided to do something that's similar. And to me, chess is war. Kickboxing is war. It's one-on-one. There's no luck. There's no team that's there to help you or save you. And you have to be ruthless. You have to crush your opponent absolutely. And also another thing about chess and fighting that's completely the same is if you lose, somewhere you made a mistake. There's no luck involved.
Right.
Doesn't matter how good you were doing. There's no such thing as a lucky punch. If he catches you and you go, he's training to punch people in the face. He just punched you in the face.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a lucky punch.
Yeah.
If you lose at some point in life, I was about to apply it to life. If you lose at some point in chess, you made a mistake. If you lose in fighting, at some point you made a mistake. And in life, I believe if you lose at some point in life, you got complacent, you made a mistake. Even with a complete black swan event like COVID, if you're going to allow yourself to be completely decimated and you did not have any kind of preparation plan or any kind of network that could help you or any kind of moves to make, you made a mistake. So I apply that. So when I couldn't play chess anymore, I thought, well, everything I love about chess, I can find in fighting. So I started beating people up.
Did you figure out, because fighting is one of those things that's interesting, you know, the younger you start, the better chance you have. So, but then it's kind of one of those, like with most athletics, you figure out pretty quickly whether you have a skill for it. You know what I mean? Like you could try something, and you're like, I'm just average at this. Were you a natural fighter?
I was good at it away.
Right away.
Yeah, I started when I was like 17. I've had 87 fights, a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Have you broken someone's bones?
Have I broken someone's bones? I've broken a bunch of bones.
How does that feel?
Great.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like I'm being serious.
I don't give
the
a
first
fuck.
time you broke somebody's bones, were you like, was it rad? Was it like a hunter when they kill a big moose?
No,
were
you
you
know,
like,
no, you know what it
"Fuck
is.
yeah."
So there's a video of, you can actually find it if you go to YouTube and you look in my highlight reel. There's a video of me fighting in Macedonia in the World Championships. I was representing the USA and I fought a German fighter. If you type into to YouTube Andrew Tate highlights, it'll come up, and there's me against a German guy. And when I knocked him out badly, seeing him on the floor was, that's it, the top one. Seeing him on the floor, you'll scroll through, you see a guy in German shorts. Seeing him on the floor was kind of cool. But you know what was much cooler? Seeing the look on his wife's face.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because I know she left him. But you just saw your man get beaten the fuck out of. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to suck his dick. No.
There you go.
Here we go. So watch in about 45 seconds from here, you'll see. But yeah, it's primal. Like once you've done fighting, you can't beat anybody at anything else because, oh, I beat him at basketball. Well, who fucking cares? A ball on the net. Like who gives a shit, right? Beating a dude up is different.
Yeah.
So like it kind of destroys all other sports because everything else is boring. in
Absolutely.
comparison.
Yeah. But then the fight is like, it's primal. It's the,
Here we go.
like you said, there's nothing, there you go. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Look at his strut. Did you see
Well,
his
yeah,
strut?
but you also,
The walk away is the best, dude.
Yeah, fuck him.
He was like-
Boom. Pussy. Now when I go Germany, they tell me to put the vaccine. When you do your vaccine passport, I'm like, listen, you didn't see what I do the last fucking Germany. Talk shit. Shut the fuck up. You know what's funny as well? Because money protects me. Let me tell you, I was in Munich, and the police are walking around, mask, mask, mask. I pull up to the Kopinski in a fucking Ferrari 812 Superfast. I walk in the reception. Sir, would you like a mask? No, I would not. Thank you. Keep walking. And I noticed that money protects you, right? When you're a big dude walking with confidence, pulling up in a $300,000 car, staying in the penthouse, they're more scared to tell you to do things than if you're just Joe Schmo. I know they shouldn't be, but they are.
They are.
The staff are like, oh, who the fuck's that guy? I'll just let him. He doesn't wear one. But with the average person, they're over there, mask, 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 mask.
yeah.
Me and my brother, we've walked around and broke every single fucking COVID restriction since the dawn of this shit. All of it. We just walk around saying, make me. I'll call the police. Call them. By the time they get here, I'm bouncing. I'm gone. I walked into a fucking coffee shop in Germany. I was like, bro, latte. He goes, you need a mask. I said, there's only you and me in here. Are you scared of COVID? He goes, no, but it's the rules. I said, have Germans not yet learned about blindly complying with governments? Have you read a history book? No. Oh, I said, there's no police here. Stop shitting yourself. What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Like, you're such a fucking coward. Make my coffee. No wonder you're a barista, you pussy. Fucking unbelievable. I had to cuss this German guy out, tell him he's a bitch. Get back in the fucking McLaren. Get a drive-through coffee. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
that is insane.
It's fucking insane.
It's insanity.
It's just male cowardice.
And by the way, you are so right about anytime. You don't even have to be wealthy to do this. If you walk through a place with your shoulders back and your head high, it doesn't matter. And you just walk with purpose. Yeah. Anybody who tries to give you an instruction, if you're just like, I don't think so, then most of the time they'll be like, okay, I'm not supposed to talk to that person.
99% of the time. And that's how all this shit ends. I said this to someone. Someone came to me and said, what do we actually do about this? I said, listen, don't get kicked off flights. Don't get put on no-fly lists. No.
Yeah.
If you have to wear a mask, wear a mask. My argument is very simple. Don't put one on first. Make them have to come and tell you. Then say, I don't have one. Make them go and get one. Make them go and bring it back. Then hang it off your ear and still don't wear it. Sir, over your mouth and nose. Okay, then put it on your chin. And just make it so fucking difficult. Yeah. If everyone did that, they'd give up. But no, I see all these good little slaves, before they even go in the store, finding a mask in their car. I wonder why I'm broke. Because you live inside the slave system. You're living in the slave mind. Dude. You're a peon, a peasant. You're an ant in the fucking ant farm. You don't think for your fucking self.
True.
It's crazy.
But the slave mentality feels empowered now by canceling people they're envious of, by commenting and wanting to silence people that have an opinion.
Correct.
So now that is a form of power. Now the slaves have united.
But this is what's dangerous about the world. This is what people don't understand, and this is what my society discusses always, is that throughout history, the way humanity got here is that it was the biggest, strongest alphas of society that were in charge of society.
Yes.
We now live in a world where it's the beta male tech programmers that rule the world. And if you give a bunch of betas power, they're going to abuse it worse than anybody. Have you ever given a weak man power? You see what they do with it? Because they've never felt powerful. You can give me power. We talk about all the shit I do with women on a serious level, right? If a woman trusts me and she gives me power over her in a relationship, I'm going to take care of her in every single way. I'm not going to fucking abuse her. I've felt powerful my whole life. I kick the shit out of dudes. I'm not going to get shit. Why would I, right? You give a beta male power, look what they do. Because they've never felt powerful. And men have a natural masculine imperative for power. Everything we discussed earlier. We talked about men want status, right? So you give weak men power, they're going to exploit it. And the weakest members of society are now becoming the most powerful members of society. And they can control fucking information. It's the end of the world. This is the end of the fucking world. This is not a joke. This is the end of the fucking world.
Well, it's the feminization of the world.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be, now it's the era of feelings. Everybody's feelings matter. And like you said, the beta male is coming to power. So what's going to happen?
Well,
What do you see
I'll tell
happening?
you, the feminization of the world is absolutely destructive to the Western world because there's never been a successful matriarchy in the history of humanity.
No,
There's
not true. What about England?
No,
Queen
no.
Victoria.
Having a female in charge is different than a matriarchy. When I talk about matriarchy, I mean on average in the household the man was in charge. On average, men were in charge of the society on average. You could have a female head of state, but on average it was the men who were ruling society. The men were in charge of
Working and providing. Women
Yeah, the
run
women were
house,
listening to the
so-
men on average.
Right.
That's my point, on average,
Right.
So I've had this argument with a feminist before. She's like, oh, well, we've never tried matriarchies. We've only tried patriarchies, blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, bitch. Yes, they have been tried. But the problem is this. The problem is this.
Yeah.
The closer you are to the base level of survival, the more people naturally revert to their gender roles. If we were all, if 10 men and 10 women were on a boat and they got shipwrecked, the men would instantly start shelter, fire, hunting,
Yes.
and the women would start doing the women things. When you get rid of all the crap and all the society and all the programming, people will revert to their gender roles. The reason we do that is because it gives us the best possible chance of survival. That's why in poor countries where survival is harder, people are closer to their natural gender roles.
Totally.
Right? So that makes sense as a whole. So this feminist is saying to me, oh yeah, but we've never tried a matriarchy. I said, no, I'm sure it's been tried. The problem is it's very, very difficult to survive under a matriarchy. It's not the natural gender roles. And the matriarchies that did exist in humanity, I'm sure they existed. The reason we don't discuss them is they never even got a chance to create any history because they were fucking decimated by the patriarchies. There is no, what is the statistical odds? Someone at home, some feminist, if you can do some fucking math, you bimbo, work this out. What are the odds of every single society since the dawn of human time all across the planet being run by men? All of them. This is not an idea that could have spread. You had the Aztecs and the Mao dynasty. They didn't fucking talk. This is every single civilization that we can ever possibly name or discover, men were in charge. The reason for that is because all the ones where women were in charge got fucking wiped out because they're not competitive. So what happens is, and they lose to patriarchies. So what's going to happen here as we become feminized, as the Western world becomes a matriarchy, as women get more and more influence and power, feminists are fucking walking down the street saying we want the same rights as men. You have more rights than men. There's not a single thing a man can do a woman can't do, but you have a whole bunch of laws in your favor. Yeah. You have more rights than men already. What the fuck are you talking about? And then they say they want to be respected for their ideas, and they get their tits out because nobody gives a shit unless they're naked. So they're fucking dumb. The whole point is that the matriarchy that we are creating in the West is no longer going to be competitive in the long run. We are not going to be competitive. And I'm not going to say what the competition is, but whatever the competition is, if men retain control, we are going to fucking lose. The world is cyclical. I live in Eastern Europe now, right? Eastern Europe, 20, 30 years ago, shithole. Now, it's the best place on the planet. California, 20, 30 years ago, best place on the planet. Now, shithole. It just takes a long time for reputations to catch up.
Yeah.
People are talking about California because they think it's like the 90s. Yeah, Baywatch, cool. That's gone.
That's gone.
It's Crack Watch.
Yeah.
Homeless Watch.
Yeah.
That's all they got over there now.
Tax
So
watch.
yeah, so as the world catches up and as things change, any society that retains its patriarchal roots, it's going to outcompete the West. I really do think that the Western world, along with America, is fucking finished. And I think if you have half a brain as a man here in the Western world, you need to get some money. I'll teach you in Hustlers University. Get in a society that understands that, and we teach you how to prepare for it. I'm not trying to change it. I'm just trying to make the smartest move on the chessboard.
All right.
Pretty good
well,
stuff.
I'm, Hungarian citizenship. Let's go.
Let's go. See you in Budapest.
I've
That's the
been-
capital of chess, you know.
I've been here for
Oh,
so
is it?
long
Full of
that I went to California last week and I walked into a place to get a sandwich. And I walked in and the lady goes, "Do you have a mask?" And I thought that was already
Sorry, in
done.
California? When
In
you're in LA?
California,
Yeah.
yeah. And they go, "Do you have a mask?" And I was like, "No," because I'm used to here.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Can you get one?" And I was like, "From where?" And she goes, "Like from your car?" And I was like, "I don't have one there either." And she was like, and I go, well, "I just want to order a sandwich." And she was like, "But you don't have a mask on." And I'm like, "Is that still a thing? I honestly
Yeah, it
didn't know.
still is.
And another guy goes, I have one in my car. And I was like, will you give it to me? He goes, yeah. I got a fresh one for you. So I go out and I get it and I put it on, and then I come back in, and then the guy there goes, you don't have to wear that mask. And I was like, what? So I don't know. It's just like it's mixed messages. It's weird.
It's more than weird. It's testament to the slave mind in so many ways. But I'll give you a perfect example of testament to the slave mind. When I get forced to put a mask on, I put it on my chin, and nobody says anything. They don't give a shit about. They just hang it down here.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about the mask. They just want to see you comply. I'm complying. I'm a slave. You must be a slave with me. I don't want to see your free spirit and your rebellion.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about the actual safety of COVID. They don't give a fuck about your breathing. They just want to see you comply. Another thing that's always been remarkable to me, and maybe it's because I've never had that matrix mindset. If I was working a normal job, right? Let's say I worked in a sandwich shop, and I'm not shitting on the average guy who does average work. I'm not doing that at all. Any work is respectable and it's hard out here to make. I don't give a fuck if you carry garbage. It's hard to make money. But if I was working a normal job, as much as I would do my job to the best of my ability, I'd also be very, very understanding of the fact that my job doesn't give a fuck about me. They don't care about me. They never will. If they have to sack me or fire me to keep their business functioning, that's exactly what they're going to do, and they're going to let me starve. So if I was working in a sandwich store and someone came without a mask, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck do you care?
Here's why it's bullshit, though. Because here's the thing: I'm not I'm pro-science, and I believe in whatever like medicine tells us to do. But here's the inconsistency, the bullshit of masks, is that even on a flight, right? You have to wear them, and then they're like, you can take it off to eat and drink.
Yeah.
So like you can take it off.
It's social conditioning.
It is. We went to a show yesterday, and when you get there, they're like, we walk in like this, and they have a little bag with masks. Like you grab a mask, and I'm like, okay. So I grab a mask, I put it on. We walk in the lobby. Everyone has masks on, and then you sit in your seat, and they're like, you can take your mask off now.
For 10 feet.
But you're around everybody that was in the lobby, and they're sitting next to you.
But
So it doesn't make any sense.
They are conditioning you to blindly comply. It doesn't need to make sense.
It starts in school. Sit at the desk.
Blindly
7:45. You're out by 3. No. It's docile bodies from the minute you're born. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Brian in Evanston. This thing's just going to get off the rails before we even get going. What's up, Brian?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, B-Money? Good, dude. You?
Good. It's good to talk to you again.
You too, man. Again, have we talked before?
Yeah. You actually named the episode after my thing.
Oh, so quick insider baseball. I don't ever name any of the episodes. That's pretty cool. That's Kelly's job. Very cool.
Somebody did.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, so what's up, man?
Yeah.
Hold on. What did we talk about last time?
About my ex-wife and how she's an emotional terrorist. And I think it was back in April, so it was quite a while ago.
I don't quite remember it, but everyone in the booth was like, oh, yeah, we remember Brian. All right. So welcome back, Brian. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so my question was, like, I'm kind of frustrated with my wife, and I'm trying to keep it from turning into resentment from her.
Okay. This is your current wife.
Yeah, my current wife.
Okay.
And you know, she's been going to school to get her bachelor's degree, and you know, it's taken her 10 years. And you know, she started with an associate's.
Okay.
And you know, she's racked up a bunch of student loan debt, and you know, now she's at the end here, and you know, she keeps failing this test she has to take, and every time it's like $150. And I mean, I don't think she's stupid for sure. Like, she's smart. I just don't understand why she keeps failing it. And, you know, I'm almost starting to resent her for it, because, I mean, it's like I'm financing her dreams while I have to work a job that I really don't like, just so we can pay the bills, you know?
I'm trying to think of where to start. So right out of the gate, you already resent her, dude. You don't like her. You're annoyed by her, and she pisses you off. Let's just cut to it. Like, let's be honest, she does.
You're not wrong.
That's a tough place to be. What is she going to school for? What's taken 10 years to get 60 credit hours?
Early childhood development. And you know,
what
it's
test?
just
There's no exit test for
it's
EDC.
It's for a certification. It's called the Praxis test.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What does she want to do?
She wants to, you know, she wants to work with special ed kids, but you know, with that degree, with her degree, she could go, you know, work up to like teach up to like 3rd grade, I think.
So let me just be real clear. She has no interest in doing this. She hasn't for a decade.
I would hope she does. This is like her dream job.
It's
you know?
it's absolutely not. 100% it's not. I guarantee you it's not.
Well,
Here's how I know. And dude, you're gonna have to chill out. And I know you're pissed off, but you're gonna have to chill out.
Yeah.
If this was her dream, she would have done 60 hours in 18 months. When you're around people who are obsessive about a dream, the thing that they really want to do, they make it happen. They don't take a decade to get 60 hours. And you're talking to a guy that got 2 PhDs and had kids, and I was working a full-time job, and I was married. I was obsessed, right?
Yeah, we got 4 kids. She works at the school right now as a para-educator or whatever. And
I know, dude. Can you just hear your voice? You don't like her.
I don't like what she's doing.
No, you don't like her.
Well,
Why?
I like to think that I like her, at least.
I would too. She's the mother of your kids, 4 years and all this. Is it something?
I feel like I'm her cash cow.
You're her husband,
that's
man.
What I feel like. Yeah, but I feel like I'm just her cash cow, because I mean, you know, she's going through all this schooling, costing a bunch of money, and like she didn't work all summer, and you know, we've been doing the Dave Ramsey thing, trying to pay off debt. She didn't want to get a job this whole summer, and she doesn't make any money while she's off. And you know, so I've been supporting the family for 3 months now, and you know, it's frustrating me pretty bad, and I can't even tell her about it, because then she'll start crying and you know, because she'll shut down, like she'll just clam right up.
Dude, I'm clamming right up now talking to you.
Why?
Because, man, you're coming at me like I did something. Like you are so full of anger. I can hear it in you, man. And the way you just come, you're not interested in a discussion or a, hey, what's next? It's a, I've got to get this out. And let me be honest, it's okay to do that. It's super okay, right? You're gonna hurt my feelings. But I absolutely can see you being a lot. My question for you is this. This is not the ultimate issue. There's something beneath this or beneath that. And let me throw a couple of ideas out there. Number one, You got, how old your oldest kid?
15.
15, and what's your youngest?
Should be 5 next month.
Okay. So you've got 4 kids. Things are chaotic. Bills are very, very tight. You found yourself in a mess. You're with a 15-year-old all the way down to a 5-year-old. I'm just guessing here. This is most couples. This doesn't have to be you. Your sex life screwed up. Your time alone with your wife is screwed up. Your friends are screwed up. Like, it's just, you're just running and running and running. And whenever we're running, we start looking for who's not doing their, right? And so it becomes this woe is me kind of thing. That could be one of them. It could be that you don't like who you've become, and I'm gonna go, right? I don't know what the deal is, but there's something beneath the thing. What is the thing beneath the thing? I'm not attracted to my wife anymore. I think she's lazy. I don't like her character. Like, what is the thing beneath the thing? Because this is, let me ask you this. It's been going on for 10 years, brother. And so, it would have boiled up before now, is what I'm saying.
I guess maybe I don't like her character. I don't really like her work ethic. She almost seems like she just doesn't care about anything.
Who takes care of these 4 kids?
Well, we she's at home with them right now just because she's it's summer vacation, and but they'll be in school. I'm home every night. Even though I'm a truck driver, but I'm there with her. But she's just sitting around all day, watching reality TV and crap. And
have you ever stayed at home with 4 kids?
Yeah, I've done that.
And there's just nothing going on. She's just sitting around.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's just sitting around. The kids are tearing the house apart, and it's not necessarily that I want her to clean up. The house has to be immaculate and dinner has to be on the table when I get home. But she, it just doesn't seem like she's putting forth any effort. It's almost like she just doesn't care. I mean, we don't even think the same about money. She sees like $500 in our account, and I see no money, and we can't even be on the same page about that.
Why?
It's like we're living 2 separate lives.
That's it right there. That's it right there.
Well, I don't know how I can, because if I try to give her maybe some advice, I probably do come off as overbearing and arrogant.
100%.
And yeah, but she's telling me, well, why is your way the right way?
That's a very fair question. It's a fair question.
It's a fair question, but I don't think she's ever. She's always had a safety net. I don't think she's ever been desperate like I have.
She's your wife. What's the matter with you, dude?
What do you mean she's my wife? What does that have to do with it?
I don't ever. I am my wife's safety net.
Well,
and she's mine.
I'm just saying.
I don't ever want my wife to have to feel desperate. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, in her younger years, she's never had to feel desperate like with money, I'm her safety net. I go out and work 70 hours a week, and I take care of them. I don't want her to feel desperate now, but I'm just saying she never did, and that's why I think that's why she feels that money is not important or something, I don't know. I am arrogant, and I have a big ego. I can admit that. So,
here's what it sounds like, dude. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Sounds like you are real freaking lonely.
That
Sounds
is
like you
100%.
are real lonely.
And I'm surrounded by people.
That's exactly right. And you're drowning, yes, right, on a boat full of people. And it was a revelation to me when I learned that male depression male loneliness, male depression often comes out with volume, with anger, with you need to fix, fill in the blank. And anytime I'm sitting with somebody, like I am with you right now, who is this much disdain for his wife, And yes, you could say I love her. If somebody tried to come into the house, I'd fight them. All yes, you could do the William Wallace stuff, but you don't like her. You have disdain for her. And that's not like just my wife, but like you wouldn't marry this person again if you knew them. And that circles back in this world to you. And quite unfortunately, she's on the phone. So you have her call me one day and I talk to her about all of her soap opera watching and her bonbon eating, which I take issue with. That's a whole other call. What do you need, man?
I don't know.
What do you need? You do. What do you need? What's scaring you?
I feel like she doesn't.
No. Quit talking about her.
Match me in.
What scares you?
Oh, okay. I guess being completely alone with no people around me or something. That scares me. Being divorced again and.
Hey, you are real close to that, and you know that.
Yeah.
Have you started talking to somebody else?
About divorce? No, I don't have.
No, not about divorce. Is there? Are you talking to somebody else? Are you seeing somebody else? Are you texting somebody else?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I'm no cheater.
Okay. Yeah, this thing's dangerously close to getting off the rails. But and again, you've been down this road, you know that. What scares you?
Yeah.
Are you scared about money, man? Are you scared about not having enough? Are you scared about your kids? Are you scared about the state of the world? What are you scared about?
I'm scared about never ever making enough money, and you know I'm
okay,
scared
let's stop
of,
right there. What can you do about that?
I don't know. Make more money, I suppose.
Have you
ever? I don't know.
Have you ever sat down with your wife and said, "I'm scared"?
Yeah.
And she just said, "I don't care.
Yeah, and then
move over." Real Housewives of Atlanta's coming on.
Yeah, she says we're fine. Like, why are you scared? We're fine.
Is she right?
You know, and no. Well, I mean, maybe to a point, but you know, I don't feel like we're fine, and I feel like once you get to the point where you're fine, and you don't have this anxiety, then you're gonna end up like, you know, losing everything in the end.
Why? Why do you think that, man?
I don't know. Maybe I know I'm pretty pessimistic. I like to think of myself as a realist, but you know, I just feel like if I'm not anxious about, you know, getting the mortgage paid, then the mortgage won't get paid.
Have you ever missed a payment?
You know? No.
Okay, so the data tells me you're a guy that pays his bills.
Yeah.
And you also tell me you're a guy who's on a plan to get out of debt. You are.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, as a guy that nearly burned my wife to the ground with my anxiety and my, oh yeah, but this could happen, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this? And I had an emergency fund for our emergency fund. And I wouldn't take vacations for a decade so that I could pay this off, so I could pay that off. And eventually my wife said, I don't want this life. Yes, we may, here ultimately, brother, here was the line that was the bellwether line for me. And it wasn't from my wife, it was from my buddy. And I came to find out that she had talked to him and said, I'm worried about John. And the line he gave me, because we were talking about money, he's a banker, he's a savant. And we were talking about this, and what about the dollar, and then what happens here, and how much do I need saved, and then what about the investment here, and I'm gonna put this in. And finally he said, dude, I don't have a meteorite plan. I said, what does that mean? And he said, I'm saving money, I'm trying to pay off my debts and all that, but dude, if the dollar implodes and we're trading gold and coffee, I'll deal with that when we get there, because I'm gonna have to shoot my neighbor's dog for food. And what I would tell you is, you have a plan. What you don't have is the skill set to be an engaged father. You do not have the skill set to be an engaged, loving, present husband. Those are tools and skills you don't have. And until you decide, I want to get those, your body feels like it's on fire every time you're around them, and it gets pushed off into proxy things like money. And if you guys got $1 million today, within a month, it would be about something else, how clean the house is. And then you hire a maid, and then within a month, it would be about something else. Your body's going to continue to find something to blame, to heal the internal, to put a Band-Aid over that internal chaos, which is relationship. And until you are enough of a brave, courageous man, which I'm hoping this phone call is that, to say, I am scared of being alone. I'm scared of my 15-year-old son or daughter looking at me and saying, I don't like being around that guy. Or a 5-year-old that would rather play a video game than be engaged with his old man. Then you say, I don't have the skills, the tools, I don't know how to do this, and I'm gonna go learn those skills and tools. And I'll tell you right now, you can turn all that around. That's where we are. Along the way, you will have to address your conversation with your wife, but that's not where you start, brother. You start in the mirror. And you work too hard, and you love too deeply to feel this alone. Is that fair?
Yeah. I just don't know where to start. I don't know how to do that.
That's
I
fair.
feel like I'm lying to myself, you know?
You are. You are. You are. And here's the other thing. It's a common thing with men, myself included, right? Is I don't know how to do dad. I'm not good at it. And when I tried early on, my wife was like, what are you doing? That's not how you do a diaper. No, you gotta warm the bottle up to this, not to that. And you can't put that in the microwave. What do you do? And I found myself early on, I was better at work than I was at home. So I just started spending time there. Because that's where I was good at what I did. And I felt like I could help there. And you've probably heard me talk about on the show. It was just this year that my wife looked at me with her hands on my face and said, John, we have enough. We need you. And then I thought, oh, crap, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it sounds like your wife has not checked out of, is not lazy. It sounds like she quit. Because you're probably a lot.
I am a lot. I'll give you that.
And my guess is she doesn't have a path to victory with you. Tell me I'm wrong. You could say, Deloney, you're full of crap. You're wrong.
No, I think you're right.
But if she got her degree right now and she went and got a job, she may have awareness that you may not think I'm doing anything, but the laundry of 4 kids plus a driver has to get done. And this has to get done, and that has to get done. All these things have to get done. The house will still move on. And I'm going to go make $40,000, and within a few months, my husband, Brian's going to ask me, why aren't you making 50? And why aren't you making 60? I'm just going to sit here. I'm out. And again, I may be way out to lunch on that, dude.
I would like to think that her making $40,000 would be a big help.
Would it?
I don't know. It seems like, well, yeah. I mean, I'm almost obsessed with paying off debt, and it's like she doesn't care. I feel like I'm dragging her to debt to pay off debt, and I maybe I'm not.
No, you might actually be, but what I'm going to tell you is you're going to not only not pay off your debt by doing that, you're going to lose your marriage too. And at some point, you'll have to come together, because the whole point of doing something together like this, the reason that you pay off debt with somebody else is because it forces you to the table to say, who do we want to become? Who do we want to be? Where do we want to go? And let's do the things that we need to do to get there. And that often, not always, I want to say even often, sometimes it results in people need to go get counseling, because I know I want to lose 100 pounds, and I know that it's diet and exercise. For some reason, I can't stop, and I need to go get some help. I need to talk to somebody. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm the exact same way. I have a coach right now. I got a counselor right now. I got people that help me do my stuff, and I do this for a living. I know the answers, but I gotta have some more tools, right? Is your 15-year-old a boy or girl?
She's a girl.
Tell me about your relationship with her.
Well, I'm not 100% sure she likes me.
Hold on. Say that in a more honest way.
I think she hates me.
Why? Why?
I think her mother turned her against me.
Okay.
She tried to commit suicide twice in my house.
Okay.
I admitted her twice to a mental institution to get treatment. And, she actually wrote a letter to me attacking me. And, blaming me for all of her problems. And the therapist that she was seeing actually said that she attacked me because she felt safe with me, or some crap like that. I didn't believe her, the therapist, and she actually had a one-on-one session with me because apparently I was really agitated. But
Brian.
She's been through a lot, way more than what any kid should be.
You know who else has been through a lot? You.
Who? Oh. Yeah.
Brian, your daughter tried to die twice, and she blamed you for it.
Yeah.
And by the way, your therapist was probably right. How old was she?
Oh, she was 12.
Okay.
And she tried it twice within 6 months.
You know what we don't let 12-year-olds do? We don't let them drive. We don't let them buy guns or beer, because they're kids.
Yeah.
And as much as what she said hurt you deeply, you did not fail that 12-year-old girl. In fact, you're her lifeline. And 12-year-olds say crazy things. I have a 12-year-old now. And they do crazy things because they're 12. But you're not a crappy dad. You didn't fail your kid. You didn't break your kid.
Well, I mean, I failed her when she was 6, really. One of her mom's boyfriends assaulted her for 2 years under her nose, and that was pretty bad.
Did you know that?
I didn't find out until my ex-wife called me and said, we're heading over to the hospital because we got to do a rape kit on Kylie. And I'm like...
Then you didn't fail your daughter. Did you show up?
I was there, yeah.
Then you were there with her in the fire, my brother. Listen, until you let Brian off the hook, everything's going to feel like it's on fire.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Be good.
I thought at this call you don't like your wife, and that may be true. You don't like Brian.
I think I hate myself.
I don't think so. I know so.
Yeah.
And that's got to stop, because you're a good dad. You're a dad filled with rage, and if I have a 6-year-old little girl, and if I found out she'd been sexually assaulted, I would be filled with rage too, to the point that I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see. Okay?
Yeah.
And if my 12-year-old tried to hurt himself and blame me for it, I would be sick and disgusted, and I would call myself a failure. Your responses have been right, but that doesn't mean they're true.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't guess. I'm telling you, have I lied to you yet?
No.
No.
No, I mean, I feel like a pretty bad dad.
Exactly.
Most of the time.
And the way most men deal with I feel pretty bad is I got to blame somebody else because I don't have the tools to look in the mirror and say, whoa, what happened?
So you think I'm throwing all that crap on my wife?
I'm almost guaranteeing you are. Or you're creating a home that makes it hard to win in. I don't know your need. I don't know how I can meet your needs to a way where you will be at peace, because you have no peace. You have no capacity for peace. And so when I try to meet your needs, then it comes out somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. And at some point, I'm out. Because I can't. It's like playing a baseball game and there's no strike zone. They just keep calling strikes, and you don't know where I'm just quit batting. I don't know what we're doing here. Now, if your wife was on the phone with me, I would be having a hard conversation with her, but she's not. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you cannot control her behavior. You can't control what she does, what she doesn't do, the fact that she's failing exams, she's failing a test, that she's taken 10 years to do something that was really 1 to 2 years at most of a project, right? You can't. You can't fix any of that stuff. And yelling and screaming and being pissed off, I just sends people into fight or flight, and there's not a lot of accomplishment that comes on the back end of that. What you need, dude.
I don't yell and scream at her.
I know, dude, but you're
I
like...
don't want to stress her out even more for the next test, you know?
I know. But, dude, you know what makes it even... Me and you are more similar than you think. And you know what my superpower was? I never, ever, ever yell when I'm pissed. Never. But, dude, I can be really violent with my silence. My silence can fill up a room.
I do the same thing.
It's a nuclear reactor energy. And my kids know to back out, my wife knows to not engage, and then I can be righteous and have all the indignation in the world, be like, I didn't say anything. What? Oh, everybody hates Dad because I'm so tired because I've been working my butt off, right? No, I knew exactly what I was doing. In fact, if I yell, people can point at me and go, that guy's crazy. But if I'm a nuclear reactor, you know what they do? They go in the mirror and think they're crazy.
Yeah. Sort of like a manipulation almost.
Kind of. So here's your path forward, my brother, okay? Path number 1 is you're going to have to write Brian, the Brian that 9 years ago found out that somebody sexually assaulted his daughter. You're going to have to write that Brian a thank you letter. Thank you for showing up and doing the best you could in the single most nightmarish situation I can imagine.
It's pretty bad.
It is. And you're going to have to write the Brian of 3 years ago, of 4 years ago, another letter that says, you were such a good father that you are the only one that a spun out, terrified little 12-year-old child could throw a dart at. Because even she was wise enough to know that mom's too reactive. I can't, mom's not safe. And you need to write that guy a note that says, thank you for that. Even though that hurt.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to go sit down with your wife and say, I'm sorry. I've been scared for 10 years. I haven't liked myself for 10 years. I've been walking around with stories in my head for 10 years. I'm anxious. I'm alone. And I need you to hear me say, here's a couple of things I'm really scared about. I'm scared about ending up completely alone. I'm scared about not having enough money for these kids. I'm scared that another one of my kids is going to hate me and try to hurt themselves again. I need to put those things on the table. The word that nobody likes to say, especially tough guys, is vulnerable. You have to say, you can hurt me with what I'm about to tell you, and I'm asking you not to. And what I will tell you is this, Brian. You're going to feel uncomfortable if you did all those 3 things. Even you want to take one step further. If you read those 2 letters that you wrote to 9 years ago, Brian, and 3 or 4 years ago, Brian, you read those to your wife, and then you sat down with her and had this conversation. After all this, then you can sit down and you get to the point and say, I don't know what to do about your school. I'm harboring a lot of frustration and anger because I feel like you don't want to be finished. And I feel like I've created a world where you can't win. Right? Take ownership. You know Jocko is like my buddy Jocko. Take ownership. Just take it. Even if it's not all your blame, I'm gonna take ownership of this. I'm gonna need to do some healing and learn some new skills, and I'm gonna need us to dream together. And all of this is a completely uncharted water. This is you walking out into the woods with a machete saying, I gotta cut my own path here. I don't know what I'm doing. But I will tell you this, being raged out and pissed off at your wife will solve nothing other than you not being married anymore. Being pissed off and angry and raged out will solve nothing other than your kids will learn he's not safe to be around. And what I would say is look back on the last 10 years and say, has this operating strategy worked in my home? The answer is no. So the true answer is, okay, I got to do something different. I'm taking a knee. I'm saying I'm sorry. Hang on the line here. I'm going to send you a copy of my new book. I'm going to send you two things. I'm going to send you a copy of my book, and I'm going to send you the digital one so you can listen to it in the car while you're driving, okay? I'm going to send you an audio book and the new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. My guess is, Brian, if you and I talk long enough, we would go back to when you were a kid, because some of these stories have been rattling around for a long time. And what I'll tell you is, you are too good of a man, and you work too hard, and you love too deeply to have this little piece in your life, to be this lonely, to be this all by yourself, trying to hold this thing together. And I'll give you the tools to start healing that, okay?
What can I do for you?
I'm grateful for you, I appreciate you, and I gave you hell at the beginning of this call. I'm not gonna apologize for it, but I appreciate you being honest and going back and forth with me. But I love you, and I want you to have peace in your life, peace in your home, and peace in your family. You deserve that, your kids deserve that, your wife deserves that.
What can I do?
And the grandkids you've never met, they deserve that too.
Well met. Safe travels.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show.
All right, let's go to Brian.
Hey guys, we just completed the live stream reacting to The Mandalorian Season 3, Star Wars Tales, and Andor, as well as the other Star Wars news that just came out at the D23. Now we're going to do the quick breakdown of Star Wars Tales, which I am the most excited for. It's number 6 on trending. It's got 1.4 million views almost in just a few hours, and I think a lot of fans are really hyped about it too. So let's run through it, expedited, and I'm gonna give my take, my thoughts. And if you wanna see my reaction, you can go to Star Wars Theory Plus, which has all of my videos here on the main channel, but just cut down into a very timely and neatly fashion. Very short, like anywhere from 1 to 10 minutes long. So let's roll. So of course, right here, we got Padme's funeral from Revenge of the Sith. And we're gonna see this scene once again, which is great. It means it's gonna be covering after episode 3, which means it's going to be covering after Clone Wars Season 7. So, as we saw in the actual trailer, we did see Ahsoka in here, and we're going to see that in a minute. So the show is taking place with it's focusing on 2 different characters, Count Dooku and Ahsoka. So 3 episodes for Count Dooku, 3 episodes for Ahsoka, I imagine, and we're going to be covering Ahsoka's story from when she was a little baby. She was Force sensitive. Right here, we're going to see her execute the power called Beast Control, which is a power that Anakin had in the Genosian arena. He used it on the Reek. Now, if you remember from the Clone Wars, Plo Koon found Ahsoka when she was just a little kid. So right here, we see Dooku and young Qui-Gon Jinn, his Padawan. And obviously they're going on some missions together. Maybe some not so great parts of the galaxy, perhaps, but it looks like right here they're making some IG-88 droids. Who knows what this place is all about. This is great. We're going to get parts of the earlier Clone Wars where Anakin is training Ahsoka. And as we see, he gets a little bit more aggressive, a little more dark with it. And I love seeing that. This whole series seems like it takes a little darker tone on Star Wars. And it shows the perhaps darker side of different characters, such as Dooku, such as Anakin. So this is something that I think is going to be the most interesting, is seeing Dooku's story, because he was very underrated, but he was such a respected Jedi in the galaxy. He was the best duelist. He was one of the best duelists in the entire galaxy, and many people respected him. And not just because he was a nobleman, not because he came from a rich family, a royalty essentially. He was the Count of Sereno, and he left all that behind, and he was became a Jedi. His father hated him, despised him, thought he was a mutant for being able to do the things he could do with the Force. Well, you got to read the book Dooku Jedi Lost, and you'll find out more about what he does to his parents and his family. But it's quite a good book, and he goes over his younger years, especially at the Jedi Temple, with his best friend Sifo Dyas. All the adventures they get into, all the mischief that they get into. And as we see here, they're obviously trying to keep the peace. There's something going on. Maybe there's like a civil war, or whatever. Someone's trying to invade another town. Dooku is there to keep the peace for the villagers. Qui-Gon Jinn is there as his Padawan. And Dooku obviously starts using measures that aren't really Jedi-esque. I don't want to say dark-sidey, but yeah, maybe a little bit. So even there, I think he just pushes Qui-Gon Jinn back because he's trying to get in the way. And we're going to see him really start to follow through with his idea of what the Force should be or what should be done. And sometimes you can't be so clean-cut like the Jedi are. You need to take matters into your own hands. I love seeing Dooku and Mace Windu together. In the novel Shatterpoint by Matthew Stover, we get to see Mace Windu really reflect on a lot of the things, including the aftermath of the Genosian arena in episode 2, where he was saying how he could have killed Dooku and ended the war right there, but his love for his former friend prevented him from doing so. So they obviously had a very close relationship. They obviously respected each other a great deal. Now, as for who's stronger, in my opinion, I think
you need a
Dooku
good
is more
gold farm to
experienced
get WoW
fighting
tokens.
with the Force, but in terms of potential, I think Mace Windu is stronger. So Anakin's really not letting up. He's really pushing Ahsoka
It's like a nightmare.
to the next level, and that's how she's gonna get better. So while I'm editing this, I want to also announce that spin move we see her do is the same move that she does to save her life during Order 66 in Clone Wars Season 7. So it's almost like Anakin was teaching her how to protect herself against the very thing that he was leading during Order 6. Like, that's pretty cool. Love here how Mace Windu is like, just jumps out of there, obviously to get a different attack position and all that stuff. But Dooku stays there and he's just, I'm gonna take him on. I love that. Once again, so we see Qui-Gon Jinn tell Dooku, hey, stop, it's enough, and he gets pushed back. Now we see Mace Windu doing the same thing. So Dooku is obviously going off of the rails a little bit, and he's starting to just do things the way he sees fit. He grew disillusioned with the Jedi. There were too many Jedi going on political missions and dying, and he was not down for that. So right here, we see Ahsoka at Padme's funeral. And that was a good catch by someone in the chat during the live stream. This is really cool that she was there. So this looks like they are at some sort of a Jedi funeral. Someone is on fire. They're obviously very sorry. It could be Yaddle, as someone also mentioned in the chat, as we see Dooku fighting Yaddle later on, and he could have been the one that killed her. This is the new Inquisitor. This is most likely from the Ahsoka novel. She ends up killing him, taking his lightsaber crystals and purifying him, and that's why they're white. Here we got Dooku and Yaddle fighting. This seems to be in a place called the Works, and you're going to see that in a second when we see a ship going towards the same direction that Dooku went, same scene Dooku went at the end of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It's on Coruscant, and the Works is a place that Sidious would go to. It was a very secret industrial place, and he would train Darth Maul there, and he would have meetings with Count Dooku there. Right here. This is the scene I'm talking about. So this, if you go to the scene at the very end of Attack of the Clones when Dooku escapes Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, or really Yoda, he does this same flyby in the same spot. And this is the Works. He ends up going to the Works and he talks to Darth Sidious. And that's it. That is my breakdown. That's pretty much the gist of everything. If I
That looks like a good show, man.
I am unbelievably excited for the show. I think the future of Star Wars will be great if we have, a combination of live action, but definitely have to include these animated Clone Wars style projects that Dave helms. I'm not sure if Dave was in charge of this one or not, but he must have had some sort of a say or touch on something that they do, because it says from the makers of the Clone Wars Season 7 and the Bad Batch. And he was the makers. He was one of the makers. So I'm extremely excited for this. I'm really passionate about this. If you haven't already, you've heard me say it before, go check out the comic series run, Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir. It takes place in between Season 5, I believe it is, of the Clone Wars. And it's Darth Maul in captivity from Sidious after their fight with Savage Opress, Darth Maul versus Darth Sidious. And it goes over a lot of things of how Darth Maul overcomes everything. He has to fight Dooku, he has to fight Grievous, he has to fight Sidious. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens, and I hope that they adapt that into an animated show one day, because I think there's just so much to discuss there. They could do even a whole season. They could make like 12 episodes, if they really wanted to. And I think Sam Witwer would probably have a blast recording that. I think Dave Filoni would love to make that. There's probably been talks about it, but I don't know why they haven't done it. Or at
You
least
want a Harry
announced that they're
Potter
gonna do
TV
it.
show?
It's like they think like, oh no,
That'd
we'll
be
do a
pretty
special.
cool, dude.
Yeah, dude, announce it.
I can see that
Announce
coming
it.
here.
We want to know. We want to see
relatively
that happen. I want to see
quick.
Son of Dathomir.
I'm excited for the
reality.
game.
And there's so many other animated things that they could make, and this shows that this could just be the first season, like Star Wars Visions. Bro, if Star Wars Visions got greenlit for season 2, there's no way that this won't get greenlit for season 2. It has to be.
You hyped for the
It is
game?
such
Oh
a
man,
popular
yeah.
already. It's so
Look,
popping. It's so buzzing.
I'll say this: the first time I saw it, I was like, "Holy shit, this game looks good." The second look at it, like, I was like, I don't know. It looked a little bit rougher, but I'm still excited to see it.
Have a good one.
It has more views than the Mandalorian trailer. 937, 1.3 million. Well, I guess you got half an hour to an hour extra time. So, maybe. Maybe about the same. But look, it's on par at least more with the Mandalorian Season 3. It might trickle off a little bit, but it just goes to show that many fans really love these animated projects, like the Clone Wars. And I think it'd be great if we had more of those. You know, just pile them on. I'm here for it. I'm here to see it. So thanks for watching this breakdown and my review and my reaction. If you haven't seen it already, go watch the reaction video that I had with chat. It's like an hour long. And then
Legit infinite
I love you guys.
potential.
Hope you have a great day. Thanks for sitting down with me and hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember,
Like
the
looks
Force
like it could
will
be pretty good, man.
always.
Hey, can you put it on my keyboard, please, dog?
You wouldn't do that in real life, would you? We're not counting Black Friday. Okay, we're not counting Black Friday. That's different. Okay, you gotta get your tickle me elmo, am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
Hey guys, we just completed the live stream reacting to The Mandalorian Season 3, Star Wars Tales, and Andor, as well as the other Star Wars news that just came out at the D23. Now we're going to do the
Now, like a lot of people, I tuned into the first episode of She-Hulk last week with, how can I put this, somewhat modest
You gonna farm volatile
expectations.
waters,
Basically,
you
I
guess? There you
expected
go,
the show
dude.
to be just another lazy Marvel TV product.
Get to
written
grinding.
and shot as quickly and cheaply as possible to keep the content sludge pipe flowing, with lame attempts at witty humour and an extra large helping of complaints about how generally awful and stupid men are. And well, that's exactly what we got. And I think one particular scene towards the end of the first episode pretty much encapsulates everything the writers wanted to accomplish with this show.
I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or I might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
Are you serious? Oh my goodness, whatever could they be trying to tell me here? Now, as tempting as it is to sit and mock She-Hulk for its awful writing, cringy dialogue, flaccid CGI, heavy-handed gender politics, amateur acting, nonsensical editing and terrible pacing, but don't worry, I'll come back to that in another video. Believe that! I actually wanted to use this show for something positive for a change, because the more I think about it, the more I realise it's basically a textbook example of how not to structure a story and how not to develop a protagonist. So why not turn it into a bit of a learning experience for all of us? Grab your pens and notebooks, dear viewer, because it's schooling time. Now, as hard as it may be to believe, it is actually possible to make Jen's infamous rant function in context. But the problem with this episode is twofold. One, it doesn't actually show us any of the things she's complaining about, and two, it fails to establish Jen as a sympathetic, likeable character that we care about. The writers wanted a big emotional payoff with this scene, but they were either unable or unwilling to give us the setup that it needs to work. So let's explore how and why they failed and how they could have done it better. The problems begin in the very first scene where Jen's rehearsing a speech that she's about to give in court and her two co-workers are listening in. Now naturally her female companion is positively brimming with praise. I mean, this girl just can't say enough good things about her to the point where it becomes almost uncomfortable to watch. But pay attention to this scene 007 because this is the very first time we meet our protagonist. It's the first chance we get to assess her demeanour, her personality, her mannerisms and even her work environments. This is where the writers need to establish her as someone likeable, someone relatable, someone the audience can become invested in. But how to do this? Do they give her razor-sharp dialogue, a witty, fun, charming personality that you can't help but warm to? Maybe work in a few little flaws, insecurities and shortcomings to make her more human and relatable? No, they just have another character straight up tell us how amazing and smart and capable she is. She's fierce, she's a girl boss, she's crushing it. The script doesn't trust the audience to form their own opinions about this character, so it just straight up tells you what to think about her. She's great because we say so, okay? Don't question us. This kind of thing is a hallmark of weak, insecure writers who don't have confidence in their own work, and it's happening more and more in Marvel projects these days. Like Maria in Captain Marvel, who feels the need to tell the audience that Carol Danvers is funny and crazy and kind, despite the movie showing us the exact opposite. Or Loki telling his female counterpart how amazing she is, because otherwise we might not figure it out for ourselves.
You did it on your own. You had rings around them. You're amazing.
This is not how writing is supposed to work. The only voice of contention in the room comes courtesy of a man, but that's okay because he's quickly silenced and sent away with his tail between his legs. Yup, it's a Marvel show alright. But let's take a step back from that and think what this does for Jen's character development and that all-important scene later in the episodes. What it tells me is that Jen is already firmly in control of her life, her work environment and the people around her. She's able to quickly and easily deal with objections, dissenting voices and challenges to her authority. That's a good thing, right? Well, not really. Keep in mind the conversation later in the episode where she complains about men constantly questioning her judgment, holding her back, and generally making her life so difficult that she has to constantly hold in the rage that builds inside her. That's telling us one thing, but the episode itself is showing us the exact opposite. She easily deflects her male colleague's doubts and sends him on his way without the least difficulty, and there's no indication that she's even particularly bothered by it. If anything, she seems mildly amused by the whole thing. She just blows him off and then gets right back to being showered with praise and adoration. And this is a real wasted opportunity to develop sympathy towards the character. Imagine this same scene where Jen recites her big elaborate closing argument only for her more senior male partner to overrule her and flatly state that he's the one who's going to be delivering it. He might be superficially polite and consoling, maybe even giving her half-hearted platitudes like she's just not ready for this yet, but there's a more threatening undertone to his voice so that we know exactly what he's doing and why. We get to see her excitement and enthusiasm turn into crushing disappointment as she realizes she's been held back from yet another opportunity. Now imagine how much more sympathy you'd feel towards her as a character. I mean, nobody likes to see good people getting crushed and sidelined, and instinctively you'd want to see her succeed. Now imagine how much more impact her rant later in the episode would have if we actually saw the negative impact of what she describes. But no, the writers were so desperate to have their first girl boss moment right off the bat that they had to make this a quick and easy victory for Jennifer. The scene feels more like them projecting their own personal gripes, frustrations and hang-ups, followed by the fantasy resolution they wish they could have had themselves, rather than a logical component of a bigger narrative. It was more important for them to score a quick, ego-stroking win rather than take the smarter option that would deliver bigger and more satisfying payoffs later. And unfortunately, that's a common thread in this show. Like in the next scene where Jennifer and Bruce are involved in a car wreck. Bruce gets knocked unconscious in the crash and Jen's forced to drag him from the wreckage, and in the process, some of his blood mixes with hers and she turns into the Hulk. Now, imagine for a moment how much more impactful this scene might have been if Bruce had been the one to survive the crash and Jennifer had been badly injured instead. So bad, in fact, that conventional medical science could do nothing more for her. Faced with a difficult choice, Bruce reluctantly gives her a blood transfusion, saving her life at the cost of her humanity by turning her into a Hulk. That would open up a lot of pretty interesting possibilities for their relationship. On the one hand, Jennifer would be rightly pissed that Bruce performed an invasive and life-altering medical procedure without her consent, and now she has to live with the long-term consequences. And on the other, you could have Bruce racked with guilt that he basically ruined her life, but also defiant because he ultimately took the difficult decision needed to keep her alive. That could result in a lot of conflict, but also a lot of very emotionally satisfying scenes between the two of them. But all of that would require time and effort to develop, probably over multiple episodes, and it's all just so much work. It would also mean putting their protagonist at a bit of a disadvantage, albeit temporarily, and needing the help of a man to get her out of trouble, and that's not allowed in modern Marvel writing because it goes against the rules. They couldn't have their creation lying helpless and injured on the ground. They were repulsed at the idea of a strong man pulling her from the wreckage and making important decisions about her future without her inputs. And so, just like the opening scene that could have been the setup for a satisfying emotional payoff later, they instead took the short-sighted option and went for a quick, easy and cheap win. Of course Jen doesn't need Bruce's help. Of course she wrenches a buckled car door open, despite that being almost impossible for any human without heavy cutting equipment. Of course she carries his unconscious body away from the wreck, despite him weighing 50 or 60 pounds more than her. She's awesome, she's a boss, she's killing it like she always does. And it's only because of this weak, dumb man's injured body that she happens to get some of his blood on her. What a selfish arsehole. Anyway, so she hulks out and wakes up sometime later in the bushes outside a bar in the middle of nowhere, and after staggering into the bathroom, she immediately encounters a group of comically helpful women who slather her in makeup, force her into some cheap clothes and send her on her way, only for her to run into a group of evil men outside. I mean, I assume they're evil because that's clearly what the writer wants us to think. The problem is that they don't really do anything all that bad. I mean, they show some mild interest in Jen, who's clearly not interested, and when they persist, she hulks up and almost kills all of them. And it's only the intervention of Bruce at the last second that saves their lives. And that's it. The big payoff here is Jen scaring the crap out of a bunch of dude bros who normally would have been scary and intimidating to her, and whose only real crime was being a bit too forwards. Now, take a moment to think about this for what it really is, a logical building block of a larger story. Think about how much more impactful this might have been if it had happened earlier in the episode, before Jen's transformation. Imagine she was making her way home after a shitty day at the office, like, for example, getting passed over for a big court case, only to run into some drunken assholes who start harassing her. At first she tries to ignore them, then she politely declines their advances, but still they keep it up, getting more surly and abusive as the scene continues. We get to see and feel her growing panic and anger, and how hard she has to struggle to keep from losing her temper, and by the time they finally get bored and leave her alone, she's exhausted and upset from the ordeal. Think how much more we would empathise with her then, and how much more impact that big emotional payoff at the end of the episode would have had. But nah, the writers didn't want to do that. They wanted to do an easy breezy comedy where problems get resolved almost as quickly as they appear, and the main character just kind of bounces from one win to the next. They wanted the female power fantasy of standing up to male bullies, of being the bigger, stronger one for a change, of putting men in their place. They wanted to feel vindicated, validated and strong in a way they never had before. Yet again, they sacrificed long-term story payoffs for the quick dopamine hit of an easy win. The last point I wanted to touch on was the training sequence between Jen and Bruce. Having prevented her from killing a bunch of innocent civilians, Bruce takes her away to his beachside retreat so he can train her to control her Hulk powers. Which makes sense considering an out-of-control Hulk can basically decimate entire cities. Now, you might think this sequence would open up some interesting possibilities for their relationship. After all, Bruce has gone through a lot of shit because of the Hulk. This is a man with 15 years of tragedy, loss, disaster and destruction behind him. A lot of painful lessons that he can share with his Bruce's cousin to help her avoid the same mistakes. He's the experienced mentor and she's the naive pupil taking her first steps down a whole new path. Instead, what we get are some quippy jokes that mock the Hulk and everything Bruce has gone through, and a montage whose only purpose is to show that Jen is apparently better than Bruce in every way. She immediately excels in almost every activity, is Bruce's equal or even his better in every competitive event, and on the one occasion where he demonstrates superior strength, she openly mocks him for being goaded into showing off. It's just that toxic male pride talking, I guess. Which is really weird because she's literally mocking him for being stronger than her when she was literally celebrating for being stronger than him seconds earlier. I guess it's okay when women do it. Actually, now that I think about it, that should pretty much be the slogan for the MCU at this point. But more importantly, it yet again blows another perfect chance to have some kind of meaningful character development between the two of them. Bruce has got nothing to teach her, no lessons to impart and no wisdom to pass on. It's all just as shallow, insincere and meaningless as, well, basically every single moment of Thor Love and Thunder. The only purpose of this segment is to bring us to that all-important emotional payoff. Now, just imagine how much more impactful that whole scene would have been if the writers had done everything I've suggested in this video. But they didn't. Just like the toxic male lawyer, just like the car crash, just like the drunk guys outside the bar, this episode is all about having Jen breeze through every situation with absolutely no difficulty. It's all about the easy wins, the cheap dopamine hit, the constant search for validation and ego stroking. What you ultimately end up with is less of a story with properly constructed setup leading to satisfying payoffs, and more of a kind of group therapy session. A chance for the writers to project all of their hang-ups and gripes and petty first world frustrations onto a bunch of on-screen strawmen that can be quickly and easily knocked down by their idealized self-insert persona. It's not about telling an interesting story or faithfully adapting the source material, it's about them. It's about making them feel better, stroking their egos, validating their life choices. It's weak, cheap, selfish writing from people who either can't or don't want to produce anything better. But hey, if you've got any interest at all in the business of storytelling, then She-Hulk is basically a perfect example of what not to do. And that being the case, maybe it does have a useful purpose after all. Now, since I've spent so long talking about writing, that serves as an awkward little segue into this neat bit of self-promotion. See, it turns out that my new novel, Dark Harvest, is now available to buy from all good bookshops.
I think to the
There's nothing to fucking watch, man. Where's our content? We need content. Content.
What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. I wanted to make one final goodbye to Overwatch 1 before we transition entirely to Overwatch 2. I really tried to make this video as positive as possible, but my heart is so on board with the changes and improvements in the sequel that looking back is a bit more bitter than sweet. But there are some things that we can still be fond of, while being thankful that some of the biggest annoyances in Overwatch 1 should be gone forever. The gameplay in the background is going to be an assortment of annoying things I've encountered recently in the game, so be on the lookout for that as I ramble on. Annoyances like how easy it is for one player to throw the game, or how many kills you can get and still lose a team fight. Overwatch 1. Today's video sponsor is Manscaped, the brand that I was a fan and customer of for years before they ever even sponsored the channel. Today we're looking at the Platinum Package 4.0, which has everything for your manscaping needs. Manscaped Ultra Premium Body Wash is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling fresh, clean, and moisturized. Their 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner is rich in antioxidants. It's non-greasy, and yes, I use it on my beards. Both of them. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the best personal grooming device in the universe. Waterproof, cordless, with a built-in light, it's perfect to be used in the shower. The skin-safe technology is what made me buy my own many years ago. It helps you trim the hedges without chopping down the tree. They've also got stick deodorant, which dries clear and doesn't leave a residue. Smells great too. Ball deodorant and toner spray helps prevent and actively battle against the growing problem of gamer groin. The Weed Whacker for nose and ear hair stops you from looking like your granddad. And the Platinum Package comes with 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag, which is super quality, and Manscaped's anti-chafing.
We're gonna bounce out a while for a bit.
Is essential for my
I'm gonna get my medicine and my dog's medicine.
You too. Pick yourself up
Then we'll figure out what we're doing next.
And be sure to use our code OVERWATCH at checkout to get 20% off your entire order and free international shipping. Go to manscaped.com, pick yourself up a Performance Package 4.0, use code OVERWATCH at checkout, and join those of us in the manscaping revolution. Let's try to get to some positive things. Number 1. Limitless possibility. Overwatch 1 was a historic gaming moment, but due to the downfall of how it was managed and the company in general, so much of that positive energy was forgotten. This section I want to communicate what opening a time capsule from the early days of Overwatch would feel like, because many of you might be new players or came along halfway through. In the early years, the game felt like it had infinite possibilities. Blizzard's communication was haphazard at the time. We didn't really know what the plan was, but it often would feel like we would get a random big improvement to the game out of the blue. So there was always this sense that when they had some new addition ready, we'd get it, and the game would constantly be getting better. That expectation waned with time, but there really was a few positive years where everyone seemed to believe that there would be constant improvement. We just had to give them a little bit more time. Nowadays, we have hopium. Back then, we had legitimate hope. An example for you, Jeff Kaplan told us a new hero would break the meta. The meta had been stale for a year or two, so he thought they had an answer to really shake things up. He was right. Turns out that hero was Brig. And I don't need to explain to you how that altered the game forever. And a different problem, after many years of misshapen team comps, whether you're playing in ranked or quick play, it was hard to either get a tank or a healer, and the play experience for normal open queue was often horrible. While it might be improved now, where there's a smaller player pool that wants to sign up for it, back then when everyone was involved in it, and a lot of people just wanted to lock in their specific role or perhaps even hero, it guaranteed like you couldn't have a team comp. So the whole push towards role queue felt like a victory for the community. In many ways it was, and I stand by that overall it was an improvement. But like everything in Overwatch 1, it took way too long to get the priority pass system, and even to this day, it and off-roll SR don't really work like we'd like them to. And this all is how following Overwatch felt like. It took a long time before the player base truly got cynical, and now I feel the hope is going to take a long time to rebuild. So much so that it feels like we can barely be properly excited for the awesome aspects of Overwatch 2. I secretly hope that some of the feeling of limitless possibility for the game comes back now that we have the free-to-play business model and a content plan for the coming years. Now, our perception of what was possible might have been higher for Overwatch 1 without reason to believe that it should have been, but I think Blizzard's actions moving forward can hopefully fulfill our hopes in the sequel. Number 2, easy 6v6 gameplay. In the glory days of Overwatch 1, the game felt like it was truly accessible to all gamers. That was a beautiful thing in some ways, but also game-breaking in others. Our community was vast and diverse, and because the game was so inherently unfair and had so much cheese in it, you didn't really have to be good to win. You didn't really have to do anything. You could do what you want and get the result you wanted, or at least the one that you deserved, I guess, for the state of the game. I say this section, of course, a bit tongue-in-cheek, because of course, I don't want this to be the case, and a lot of hardcore players would agree with me. But there's something to be said about strategy mattering so much in Overwatch 1, where being good at the hero shooter part of it wasn't so required. You could get the RPG fantasy that every type of hero could contribute in their own way. And as the game has aimed to get more competitive over time with implementations like role queue and now going to 5v5, the craziness of the game is just gone forever. Like, you might still get it in arcade mode and whatnot, but there legitimately was a time where you did not know if the enemy team would walk out of spawn with 6 Reinhardts. Okay, that was a thing that actually happened in matches. And while it's nonsense in one degree, there's
Night, Magnus. I think I'm gonna get off actually.
Winston's jumping over the choke point of Volskaya. That is the type of thing that is easily accessible to all players. Now, can that still exist but not be the main game or the main competitive mode? I'd hope so,